got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Yeah, I'm making noise.
Whole world in his hands.
Welcome back to another episode of Ministry Truth. I'm your number one host on this show. Let me know if you can hear me okay, because I'm a little bit further from the mic, because I'm a little bit lazy today. Or not. But, got a couple things I want to go over today. Let me go look back at them again, because I forgot. Gonna have some news. Local news. Not really local news. Alright, Zip. What up, Dusty? What up, Yeti? We're going to talk about some predators getting caught by the police through body cam. 2 stories about illegal aliens and what they're doing here and why they're still allowed in this country. And then we're going to have an interview that came out, I believe, a day or two ago on the Ed Clay show with none other than Alex Rosen of Predator Poachers. So, before we get into anything, because I'm kind of like a mood person. Let's get in the mood. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Y'all ready for this? Let's do this. Stupid mute button. Whew. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children, that was the music to start off the day. I'm going to start off with, I believe it's the news. Can't remember which one. Because there's some illegals. Yep. So this is an undocumented worker who, at the age of 38, sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl. Some of these stories I tried to look up because I went on the interwebs, and I Googled some things just looking because I was kind of curious. And YouTube kind of sucks for this. And so does Google because they're owned by the same fucking people. So they really don't want to report what's actually happening. But local news does sometimes. And then once you find it, maybe this isn't local. Maybe this is somebody that's trying to save kids.
Undocumented immigrant charged with sexual assault. An undocumented immigrant has been charged with sexually assaulting a child in Kankakee County. According to the Kankakee County Sheriff's Office, Juan Alvazar, 38, allegedly assaulted a child Tuesday. He is being held in the Jerome Combs Detention Center. Sheriff Mike Downey said in a statement that this heinous act was completely avoidable based solely on the fact that this offender should not be in the country.
Who was in the U.S. illegally was arrested.
Yeah, that was one. They were in the country illegally. Okay. Maybe it's a onesie. One's a onesie, twosie thing. Or is it?
By the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement after he was convicted of sexually assaulting a Virginia child. The federal agency said they issued 3 notices to the Fairfax County Sheriff's Office saying they wanted the man in their custody. ICE says the sheriff refused to honor the immigration detainers, but the sheriff's office told 7 News that is not accurate. 7 News reporter Nick Minock has this story in
The
Fairfax.
feds are lying?
New tonight, 7 News has learned Jose Fabrizio Vezaga Vargas was initially charged in May with sexual abuse of a child and a felony in Fairfax County. Following the 2 charges, court documents revealed the felony charge was no pros. The court suspended all 6 months of his sentence. Following Vezaga Vargas' arrest, ICE says they issued an immigration detainer.
He was sentenced to 6 months in jail and they just fucking suspended it? What a piece of shit. Fuck the justice system.
Following
They
Vezaga
give them
Vargas'
more rights than
arrest,
they do
ICE
Americans.
says they issued an immigration detainer. ICE says Vezaga Vargas is a non-U.S. citizen who entered the country illegally near El Paso, Texas last year. But ICE says the Fairfax County Sheriff's Office refused to honor the detainer and release Vezaga Vargas back into the community. In a letter, Sheriff Stacy Kincaid explained why she does not honor ICE detainers. She also signed a policy that went into effect this year that instructs her deputies to release inmates who are in the U.S. illegally to the street on their scheduled release date without notification to ICE. It's a policy the Washington, D.C. ICE ERO Field Office Director said is unfortunate.
I think any time that an individual
Hey, Dominique,
is
how are
allowed
you?
to be released after committing an offense and they're going back into our communities to reoffend, to re-victimize, and to abscond and circumvent the immigration laws and the criminal justice system, that's a failure. And so I hope that can be corrected.
Vezaga Vargas was arrested 2 more times this year. On August 8th, Fairfax County Police arrested him and charged him with a DWI. On August 15th, Fairfax County Police charged him with 7 counts of felony possession of child pornography and felony possession of obscene material with a minor. ICE announced in a press release that the Fairfax County Sheriff refused to honor 3 immigration detainers and release the convicted sex offender from
She
custody.
needs to be relieved of
The
duty.
Fairfax County Sheriff's Office told 7 News on Monday the ICE press release was inaccurate and there were no ICE detainers on file when he was released on August 8th and August 16th. But ICE told 7 News on Wednesday they did file the detainers on the days Vezaga Vargas was arrested. Nick Minock, 7 News.
We're going from
Well, you hear that shit? That piece of shit sheriff. She's all about, hey, let's say illegals come in this country because you know what? Never mind if they're here illegally because they're not. We can't say the word illegal alien, right? We have to call them undocumented migrants. These undocumented migrants are coming over here thinking that, oh, this is like Venezuela. I'm going to get away with it. And the justice system's like, you know what? You right. We'll wait till you get caught 6,000 or 7,000 more times. We know there's real victims and the child pornography you probably made while you were committing these 2 crimes. But it's okay, you know. We're going to deport you, but not make sure it follows through or care because, you know, they're better citizens than we are. We're just spoiled, right? Let's see. Where is it? Let's look at another case. You might take a look at this. So, illegal immigrant arrested on sexual abuse sting. Let's say his name out. Wilver O. Lapara Gonzalez, 34, is accused of paying $80 to have sex with who he thought was a 14-year-old girl, but was in fact an underage cop. Mr. Lapara Gonzalez are being charged with second-degree attempted rape and second-degree attempted criminal act on August 8th and is being held by an immigration detainer by ICE. Look at that. I bet he gets released by a judge and the ICE people because they don't want to do their fucking job. And last but not least, these 2 scumbags right here. Jose Miguel Zelaya Ponce, 20, was wanted in Harris County for aggravated sexual assault of a child under 14. The Honduran entered the country illegally on April 2021 and was charged by Customs and Border Agents Protection at that time. And he was allowed to stay up until 2024 when he completed these fucking acts and was only listed with a $3,000 reward for capturing him. Look at these 2 scumbags. Totally productive members of society. We should totally give them $10,000 a month, a house to stay in. Fuck it, you can buy a house, even though, you know, Americans are struggling to buy houses. And what are you gonna do? Interest-free loans, right? My 3.7% is pretty fucking high. And right now, It's almost impossible to buy a house because it's up to 10% interest rates. And these motherfuckers are going to get $25,000 down payment and then $150,000 interest free just for being illegal. Way to go, California and Oregon. This is what was intended at the beginning. You have to collapse the civilization from within, right? You get inside, you infect. You infect the host nation. I'm just saying, it's happening all over the world. It's whatever, man. Can we change it? We can. Will it matter? Most likely not. Because our government does not care about our citizens. Our government does not care about our children. How do we know this? Let's go look at people that have been prosecuted within this own community. Oh, wait, we can't really go check on the ones that were prosecuted within this community because, well, they weren't. If they were, then it'd be weird that they were here, right? Who would think that? Who would ever think somebody whose child was arrested with evidence of CSAM and child sexual abuse and just let them go? Only illegals. Wait. You mean that happens for real, big time? Thought that was just, scare tactics by the Democrats. Oh, no, it's not. My bad. Now let's get to predators that think they're going to get away with it because nobody caught them. Yeah, of course they don't want to teach that. You get rid of literature, you get rid of culture, you get rid of everything and modernize it, and it's more functional. No, it's not. Tired of everything being the same. We have no identity because this nation is slowly watering it down. My family came here through legal immigration. Legal. And by legal, I mean green cards. And then passed a citizenship test. Legal way. That shit was not cheap. I'll tell you that. Don't know where I was going with that, but let's get to these fucking pedophile pieces of shit. I'm not monetized, so I can say where the fuck I want. So this first one, I fucking watched this yesterday, so don't ask me to remember it.
Looking at feet, looking at shoes, stealing some shoes, and now we're touching people and breaking into their rooms.
The big thing that I got going on, it's like a foot fetish, you want to call it.
So entering their rooms and touching their feet and legs, that's this step. What would be the next step after that?
What started out as a burglary turned into a nightmare for multiple women on what should have been a relaxing 4th of July weekend. A resort nestled on the coast of Lake Tahoe, Nevada, became the center of this bizarre crime spree during the nights of June 30th and July 3rd.
By the way, these two guys that are coming up are legal.
The events earned the assailant the nickname Foot Fondler. The escalating nature of his crimes leaves investigators asking what drove him to commit these strange acts and what was he planning to do next.
I don't know why I would do it. It was really stupid.
Do you think you'll be able to stop?
It's August 1st in the residential neighborhood of Atwater, California, where two investigators with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office have traveled over 200 miles to serve a fugitive warrant. Nearly a month after the incidents that terrorized the residents of Lake Tahoe, the investigators prepare to question 26-year-old Mark Anthony Gonzalez, leading to an unusual conversation with disturbing insights and jaw-dropping revelations. The following footage has never been seen before.
Are you Mark?
Yes.
Hi, Mark. I'm Detective Jenkins. My partner, Detective Schultz.
Okay. Hello.
Would you please step back towards you?
Please, good morning.
We're going to walk this way and have a conversation.
Okay.
So, Mark, the reason that we're here to I'd like to chat with you a little bit about your family vacation to Tahoe around the 4th of July.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your vacation?
We just went over there to, have a good time 4th of July weekend. We just went over there to, we normally go every year, 4th of July. We went boating and things like that. Wanted to have a good time. That's it. Nothing too big.
The
Just a good
officer is
time.
well aware that Mark's definition of a good time goes beyond boating on the lake, but before she confronts him with what she knows, she first informs him of his Miranda rights. But Mark chooses to be anything but silent.
So, I'd like to talk to you about some of your activities while you were up in Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
Okay. Specifically, the rooms that you went into of the women and touching their feet. And before you tell me that you didn't do anything like that, I'm going to tell you this is your one opportunity to be straightforward with me.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that it was
Don't
you
lie.
because you left your fingerprints behind.
Don't lie.
According to victim statements, on the nights of July 2nd and 3rd, Mark entered 2 separate rooms at the resort through unlocked sliding glass doors. One woman described waking up as her blankets were being lifted from her body, while another was awoken by the sensation of someone rubbing her legs and feet. The officers will soon confront Mark with more disturbing details from these incidents, but for now, they continue to question him about his deranged motive.
So, I don't understand why you did those things. I'm trying to understand. I've never met you. I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
So, can you kind of explain it to me?
Just out of dumbness. I don't know why I would do it. It was really stupid.
Well, and I'm sure you can appreciate 4th of July.
Yo,
There's a ton of women
yeah,
up there.
I've done some stupid shit in my life, some dumb shit. Nothing like this. Never anything like this, or remotely close to it.
Why those rooms? Why did you go into those rooms?
Every room looks the same. It was out of dumbness that I did it, and I don't know why I would do it. Just a stupid thing.
Okay.
But
How did you get into the rooms? I mean, how did you just, pick the room or decide?
Well,
what
because
room?
every room looks the same. I honestly did think they were like the rooms that I was supposed to come back.
Oh,
to,
yeah?
But they all look.
Well, look
in
at
that
his
resort, like, they're
mustache.
all
He's
the
a
same
fucking
room and stuff,
chomo
but
for sure. Molester.
I
Sorry,
just went in just
molester.
through the back.
Mark can't seem to decide whether he entered their rooms by mistake or if he had a more nefarious purpose. Thankfully, the officer gives no attention to his excuse.
So you went in.
Yeah.
And then the ladies explained to me that you were rubbing their legs and their feet. What's the deal with that?
Just a dumb thing that I have. It's like a little fetish thing that I got going on.
I don't
But
know
it's-
you, so
it's
explain
dumb.
it to me. Just explain it to me. No
It's-
judgment.
Yeah.
No zero
Well,
judgment.
it's
Okay.
like a big thing that I got going.
FYI, definitely not a feet guy. I don't know why you would be a feet guy. If they have pretty toenails and they're clean, that's all that matters. But I'm not going to stare at them. That's weird.
On. It's
What boobs are for.
it's like a foot fetish, you want to call it.
Okay.
And it's stupid. I know it's.
Have you done anything like this before?
No.
Mark is quick to deny it, but as it will soon be revealed, this isn't the first time his self-described foot fetish would land him in hot water with the police. For now, the officer attempts to figure out his state of mind and learns something that may suggest Mark's crimes are escalating.
What was the draw, or what was exciting about it for you? Was it the feet themselves? Was it the excitement of the I shouldn't be doing this? What was the deal with that?
Honestly, I really don't know. It's just like wanting to go the next step, Like,
Yeah.
just, I don't know.
What's the
Yeah.
first step?
Well, just like watching
I hear you say that you have
things,
a foot fetish. Okay, what
Yeah.
kind of stuff do you watch?
just like dumb, like just random,
Like
stuff
regular, or is there like I don't know?
It's
Is
just,
there like
it's just
foot-
regular. It's just, well, there is, but I just normally just do
Just
the
foot
regular.
porn, like
Have
not
you
wearing
ever
a sock.
done anything like that, like stolen shoes, taken shoes,
No,
anything
no,
like that?
just I bought in shoes from women and
Women's
stuff, like
shoes.
online and all that.
The officer isn't simply making an educated guess about his activities. While she's keeping her awareness of Mark's history close to the vest for now, she'll soon explain what she knows about the case in shocking detail. In the meantime, as Officer Jenkins continues to question Mark, Officer Schultz decides to call in for backup to prevent an uncomfortable situation from unfolding when a family member begins watching the encounter from a distance.
Hey, could you ask a unit to meet us over here? Yeah, we're going to be doing that here shortly. So we just, like for black and white, we got a family member that's out here just for a cover for us.
See, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea why I would do that. It's just like a thing that I have going on, and I know it's not the right thing, but I don't know.
Unfortunately, no, it's not. Have you spoken with someone about?
I've spoken to a therapist, but like,
what have you
it's
learned?
been a while.
Okay.
A few things. How to try to cope with it, wear a little, wristband and stuff to kind of cope with that situation.
While the use of a wristband is a documented tactic used by some psychologists to mitigate unwanted behaviors, it's interesting to note that Mark does not appear to be wearing one.
Is it like a rubber band or something?
Well, just like if I do get into that stage, I'll normally, try to wear it, and it'll snap me out of things doing, weird things like that. And,
have you been doing weird things like that for some time?
No, just watching, like I said, watching just kind of copes with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
See what to deal with it.
No, you don't watch porn on your wrist, I guess.
Honestly, like more than 7 years.
Okay.
It's been a while.
And how old are you? 26, right?
26.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before you were an adult.
Yeah.
How did you? I guess
people just like have their own thing, Like I guess
what's
that's
the first time that you remember having like a thing for feet? Like how did you discover it?
I honestly have no idea. I think I might have seen something that I liked during watching something like that, and it just stuck with me for a while. Yeah, it just never went away.
After gaining some insights into Mark's compulsions, the officer circles back to the incident that brought them to his front door and refers to an earlier statement he made that has some deeply unsettling implications.
You know that you have this foot fetish, and then this was because you wanted to, I think you said, take the next step.
Yeah.
So entering their rooms and touching their feet and legs, that's this step. What would be the next step after that?
Well, I mean, I'm not too sure. Just
then how do you know?
With, like,
was there more that you were wanting to do that you didn't?
No.
Please forgive the personal nature of my questions, and I know it might be awkward talking to a female. If you prefer to talk to me,
it's fine.
I appreciate your honesty. I do. No judgment from me. Okay, no matter what we talk about, zero judgment. Okay, we all have our stuff, right?
Yes.
When you were in the rooms with the women, there was some thought that perhaps you were in the women's rooms.
No, just watching, touching.
Watching, touching yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, touching yourself. Okay.
Oh, so you were
just
masturbating.
Watching them.
And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark struggles to get his story straight, and the officer isn't buying it.
I wasn't even sure if she was a woman, to be honest with you. Like, I just went in there and, just like, had it done this. Just, like I said, wanting to,
And Mark, this is the part where let's just be honest with each other, okay? I don't think that you went into a random room. I don't think that you're into guys' feet.
No.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you're into guys' feet.
Yeah.
So I think that you probably knew that it was a woman, and I'm not judging you, okay?
I really didn't know, like, because it was so dark.
So did you just randomly start checking doors and?
You know, if the lady cop would wear a back plate, it would even it out.
How many times do you recall doing that? Obviously, I know the answer, but I'm going to see if you can be honest with me. How many times do you recall doing that?
Yeah.
Going into a woman's room, rubbing her feet and her legs, or trying to.
This is the only first time I've done it there.
Mark's heavy emphasis on the word there is troubling to say the least, and begs the question, was it really his first time?
When you were up in Tahoe, I understand that. How many times while you were there?
Just twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you try to get into another room but the door was locked?
No.
There was actually 3 times.
Just once that I went in.
Okay.
For the one that was open.
This would turn out to be a lie.
Yeah.
Mark may have been stopped due to one locked door, but it did little to slow him down, as he brazenly broke into not one, but 2 other rooms.
Okay, you went in the ones that were open. Okay, so 2 times, and then only went in the ones that were open.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you kind of hit the nail on the head going into a woman's room.
Yeah.
Without their permission, touching them without their permission, that's a crime. I'm sure you understand that.
Yeah, I don't know why I would do it. Like I said, it's like stupid.
No, I hear you. I hear you what you're saying, and it sounds to me like this is something that you've been kind of battling for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Are your parents aware of this struggle that you
They
have?
are.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do they
yeah?
know what you did in Tahoe?
Want to call him?
They do.
Okay, when did you tell them?
Well, they found out. I didn't tell them.
Oh,
They found out.
how did they find out?
Yeah.
My sister told them, hey, there's this thing going on over there.
No, bruh.
And then they figured it out.
Yeah, because
through the
my
news.
past. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your sister saw the news?
Yeah.
Kind of called you out on it?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, why don't you call me?
Yeah.
Why you make me drive all the way here? Why don't you call me? Come on now.
Scared.
I know, I get it. I get it. And I understand where you're coming from. And unfortunately, you are going to have to be held accountable for your crimes.
Get 'em.
Okay. So I have a warrant for your arrest. Okay.
Okay.
I do appreciate your honesty. Thanks for the conversation. I think that goes a long
I
way
think
to
I
speak
picked
to
the
the kind
wrong
of man that
fucking
you are.
Yeah.
A lot of guys would
body
just stand there
cam.
and be like, I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
The discussion
Either way,
between Mark and Officer Jenkins.
think about this. Women, when you're at a resort and you decide, I'm going to leave the back porch open because it's closer to the beach. You can't do that anymore. Not in this world. Well, maybe if you're overseas in like Spain or, a country where they punish people. Well, it's whatever, guys. We're Americans. Welcome to America, where everything's bigger to include the retards.
Is far from over, as he has more jaw-dropping confessions to share. In the meantime, Mark's father has seen the handcuffs go on and has finally decided to get closer to the situation.
Dad's coming up behind you. Do you want me to inform your dad of what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Hugo. Hi. So he informs me that he's already spoken with you about the things that he did in Tahoe.
What did he do?
While Mark's father claims to be unaware of the events, what he says next reveals he knows more than he's letting on.
So he entered the rooms of multiple women. So I have a warrant for his arrest. There's 4 different charges. 2 are burglary, which is a felony in the state of Nevada.
Which he didn't steal anything.
It doesn't matter. Burglary is not stealing.
Burglary in the state of Nevada is defined as entering any structure with the intent to commit larceny, assault, battery, or any other felony once inside.
Touching another person's body against their will is a battery. Okay? So that's included in the statute of burglary. Okay? And then battery and attempted battery. So there's 4 different charges. I'm sorry to, it sounds like he's been struggling with this for quite some time. So unfortunately, I believe he's escalating a little bit. I know he's already seeing a counselor, what he told me, but he hasn't in a minute. Maybe we need to revisit that. But that's going on. So he just asked that I kind of fill you in, and so I wanted to fill you in.
I kind of noticed that when you were talking, you were trying to get him to admit something like a type of charge, like something that has to do with.
No, he has priors here. I don't know if you're aware of his history with Atwater Police Department or Merced County Sheriff's Office. He has prior contacts, and during those contacts, their cases, there was some information given to me that maybe he had been after taking some women's shoes or touching himself.
According to the Atwater Police Department, Mark was suspected of stealing women's shoes from porches and garages in his neighborhood, leading to one sergeant giving him the nickname, the Shoe Bandit. But this won't be the only shoe-related incident, as a report will reveal later.
I do think that he has a fetish that's kind of got the better of him, and he's having some decision-making issues. And it's escalating. We're going from looking at feet, looking at shoes, stealing some shoes, and now we're touching people and breaking into their rooms, right?
While Mark waits in handcuffs, the 2nd unit Officer Schultz requested has still not arrived.
Hey, it's Schultz from the Douglas County again. Hey, just want to let you know we're code 4 with 1 in custody. Could one of your units transport him for us, or do we need to transport him to your facility? There's a 20-plus ETA. We're 14 minutes out from the facility. We want to just go.
Yeah, I can see. You want to just put him in the front?
With you, and then I'll ride by.
Yeah, that sounds good.
While letting a suspect sit in the front seat beside the arresting officer is unusual, it's the following conversation that takes place between the two that will surely raise a few eyebrows.
You're not going to attack me while I drive, right?
No.
Well, you say that, but I've had people attack me while I was driving, so I just want to make sure that that's not a deal. No, you've been a perfect gentleman, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Left at the stop sign.
Left?
Left.
All right, you be my driver. He's promised he's not going to attack me while I'm driving.
Of course, why would I do that?
I don't know. People do silly things.
As the conversation continues, the questions from Officer Jenkins veer more and more into deeply unsettling territory.
If the women had woken up, did you have a plan as to what you were going to do after
No,
that?
just the same day.
Just winging it?
Yeah.
Did you have a thought or a fantasy of how it might go in your mind?
No, not really.
Did it bother you at all that, like, they were sleeping next to their husband?
Disturbingly, in both instances, the women were not alone. When one victim nudged her husband awake, he reported seeing a shadowy figure at the foot of their bed. After shouting at the unknown person, he then chased him through the sliding door but lost sight of him shortly after.
I guess not specifically the husband, but that they were next to someone.
Some ballsy ass kid right there.
But I guess, was it more exciting for you that way because it was a little more scary? Or
No, it's just the same.
so what part of it was exciting for you? Was it the entering the room secretly? Was it the actual feet and legs and being able to touch them? Or what was the most
Probably just
exciting
the
thing
feet,
for you?
yeah. The feet and legs, yeah.
Is
Not
there,
entering or nothing like that.
is there a particular type of feet or legs that you like?
Not really. Probably just like ones that are nice, you know, nicely groomed. And like, you know, I don't know.
Is it women's feet, men's feet, all
Just
feet?
women's feet.
Just
Yeah,
women's feet?
yeah.
Okay. I can't honestly say I've ever watched it. What would foot consist of?
Just doing it with
Washing
the
their
feet.
feet?
Yeah, it's nothing big.
So like
No.
feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just that.
All right. Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, I've tried it.
How'd it go?
Good.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
With a consenting partner?
Yeah. That, I mean, I guess that would help me out. Like, you know.
If you had a consenting
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
The officer's line of questioning is far from over, and there's still one important question about his behavior she has yet to ask.
Do you think you'll be able to stop? I mean, honestly.
If I have a partner, maybe. Yeah, of course.
Have you been in like a committed relationship where that was a thing?
No.
So you're not sure?
No.
Okay.
I've never actually like done that, like dated or anything like
Okay.
that, or like looked for, you know, like.
So just had
you're-
encounters?
Yeah. Right now, what I'm doing is actually buying the shoes from the woman online, and that's kind of coping with my problem.
Okay.
After
you mean
his
stealing 'em?
identity in this case was revealed to the public, one woman came forward with a troubling story about an interaction with Mark on the website OfferUp.com. The truth of the matter has not been verified, and the statements made by this individual only reflect their opinion. According to her statement, Mark was interested in purchasing a pair of high-heeled shoes from her, but first requested she put the shoes on and take pictures of her feet. She refused and immediately ceased all communication with him. 9 other postings on his seller profile showed that Mark was attempting to sell or give away various pairs of women's sandals, flip-flops, and high heels, which may be what prompts Officer Jenkins to ask the following question.
Is there a particular type of shoe that you like?
Open-toed shoes.
Okay.
Anything open-toed.
So that
I'm
show
not
the
into
feet?
like the closed-toed or anything like that.
Okay. All right. So you got to be able to see the feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had the compulsion to hurt
No.
feet
No.
or anything like that? Or did you have any thought of hurting the women when you
Oh,
were
no.
touching their feet and legs?
No.
Okay.
Finally arriving at the Merced Police Department, the officers prepare to take Mark in for processing. Ironically, a routine procedure will end up giving Mark a taste of his own medicine.
Lift up the bottom of your feet so I can see the bottom. Yeah. Separate your toes for me. Perfect. Relax.
While it's impossible to know what Mark may have been planning to do next, it's clear that his unsettling obsession was taking a dangerous turn. Shortly after his arrest in Atwater, California, Mark Anthony Gonzalez was extradited to Nevada to face charges where the crimes occurred. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony burglary and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. In addition, Mark was ordered to pay the families a restitution in the amount of $435.
Bro. Lock your doors. This dude was going in there masturbating to feet and touching legs. Who else knows what could have happened? I mean, he was doing it right next to the women's husband. Imagine if you're there with your family, children. You know, sometimes children sleep in their living room when you get a place like that. Wow. Just so nonchalant about it. And the dad's like, you know, he's got this problem.
On May 5th, 2020.
You know. Totally thought that story was a different story. I watched some yesterday and then was like, oh, this looks like it was right. This one, though, this is one of the ones I did want to show. Exactly, Dominic, and that's what worries people. Because, like I said, he's so nonchalant about it, but he's also very vocal, so I think he would have given it up somewhere along that testimony or the ride. But who knows? I don't. He does. I think. Or he could be a retarded Biden voter, which they don't know what's going on either. Now, this one, ladies and gentlemen, do not, I repeat, do not let your kids accept candy or PlayStation 5s from anybody on the street.
3. Officers tracked down a suspect reported to be offering children candy to get into his truck.
What's up, bud? Looking for a Leon, or whatever his name is. Leon? Who owns that truck?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Okay.
Is he home?
Huh?
Is he home?
I don't know.
Come on,
What
man.
do you know?
You don't know if he's home?
I don't know. I'm just here.
Okay.
I'm his friend. What would you be
Put
looking
your hand out of your
for?
pockets, yeah. So, we'll do this a couple of ways. Okay, he's not in any trouble right now. Were you in the truck with him earlier? You know why we're here, right? It's the stuff you guys said to those kids over there?
What kids?
Tell them to come out here.
The truck pulled up beside him and asked him if he wanted candy, a PS5, and a Switch to get into the truck.
There's two guys that stopped in the black beat-up truck and they asked us to get in.
Tell him to come out here.
He's in the shower right now.
I'm going to pull everyone out the house. And I'm going to get a search warrant for your house.
For what?
Then when he's done with this, that's not how this is going to work. Okay, he could come out here and we could be adults and cordial about it.
He's in the shower right now, bro.
Then tell him just to come out and talk to us when he's done. Okay.
I will.
Tell him to step it up though, because we're not going to sit out here all day.
Fair enough.
Okay. Go let him know. The only problem would be you guys
Wait for
giving
the
us
M.
red
Night
flags
Shyamalan
to not want
twist.
to talk to us. That's the only problem that could happen right now. Okay.
All right. I got you.
All right.
No problem.
Thanks.
As soon as he's out, I'll have him on here.
Yep. Let him know. Okay.
Yeah, got you.
All right, appreciate it.
Wi-Fi 3 Central, clear my stop.
Yeah. Love when they play dumb.
Yeah.
I don't think he was playing dumb. Nice truck. How much you want for it? Like $3?
Hey, Bella, do you want to stay in the shower?
I told him that you guys are out.
All right. Were you with them? Because they described a guy in blue shirt, blue shorts, and all that.
That's funny, blue shorts, because if I was even sitting in the truck, you wouldn't be able to see my shorts, so. Sorry,
Okay.
you're full of shit.
You didn't get out then?
Huh?
You didn't get out?
No, who the fuck's getting out of that piece of shit?
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, listen, like he said,
like who said?
the kid with the deputy over here. You got a problem, dude? Do you want there to be a problem?
Do you have a problem?
Yeah.
With you, I do.
I don't have a problem.
No? Okay.
Not really.
All right. Like
I'm
you
just
said-
wondering what the attitude's about, you know? Like,
I just don't like cops.
well, because,
No?
yeah.
You get in trouble,
No.
you do stupid stuff on occasion? Yeah?
Yeah.
Looks like it. I get it. We all do stupid stuff, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
One day you'll grow up and realize you do stupid stuff and mature.
Okay.
Whose van is this?
Don't know.
People usually act like this when they know they just did something stupid. Shut up, yeah? Yeah, you're really getting there, man.
Is your feelings hurt?
Huh?
Your feelings hurt?
Are my feelings hurt?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
I'll be right back.
You get me?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
You look pretty good in that uniform.
Thanks, man. They're new uniforms.
Oh, yeah?
Wait, are you a Peter Puffer?
What's up, man? Good. You drive this truck? Okay. You were just out
I
driving
just
around
realized
earlier?
he's a Peter Puffer. He was trying to get boys.
No, you were. Don't play dumb.
No, earlier, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Right now,
We had two calls from different people about you driving that truck out. All right.
Yes, sir.
I don't care that you were driving the truck.
No, yes, sir.
All right, did you talk to anybody on
No,
your?
it's not running.
Did
now.
you just right now?
No, yeah, it's stuck in
I don't care.
neutral or some shit.
Yeah, what were you up to earlier? Driving
I
around?
just rolled the truck over the weekend. I showed him it still ran.
Yeah, I saw you were in an accident or something like that.
Yes, sir.
So we got 2 reports of you stopping to talk to some kids on the side of the road. So why are you turning and looking at him? What's that look all about?
Nobody started talking on damn kids there.
Yeah, see that look?
I
That's
think they're
like,
butt
yeah, we did
buddies.
something stupid
No,
and we're playing dumb. Somebody did something dumb and you know it was one of you.
Honest to God, shit, I'm focused on
2
driving the
people
truck.
called about that truck.
Oh, I believe it.
Stopping to talk to some kids.
Oh, I
Okay?
didn't stop talking about kids.
Yeah,
Not me.
It was one of you. So Layton here said he was driving the truck, but has no idea what we're talking about. So.
Well, just listen, guys. So luring and enticing a child, a minor, an adult doing that's a crime. All right. Yes, sir. I'm still unaware of what I did. Like, you can pull the camera footage from the corner store here. I never stopped and talked to no kid. Okay. Well, a 9-year-old reporting something like that to us isn't something a 9-year-old does. Okay. He described your truck to a T. Oh yeah. Okay. I don't. Shit.
And someone who was not involved, just a random person, saw you talking to the kid and called it in too before the.
Is Bella at the back still?
Yeah, oh yeah.
325.
Huh?
May I ask where this happened? Yeah, so a 9-year-old is reporting to us that someone in that truck over on Sunnybrook. Yeah, right here by the bar. Made some comments that, hey, you want candy, you want a Nintendo Switch, and there was a third thing.
No shit like that, bro.
No, I'm just telling you what happened. If over here, you can pull camera footage. You can pull camera footage from any one of these houses, man. If something else was said where maybe the kid thinks that happened, no, that'd be sir. Something to tell us. I was just giving. I just rolled.
I thought you guys were gonna be here because that thing was on the damn road because it's not road legal.
Yeah, I don't care. We don't see it driving, so I don't. No, yes, sir. I understand, but just if you drive it like that, you can't get stopped. Talk to no kid. You can pull any camera footage around here. Did you guys did kids
I don't
cause you
think they can just do that.
No, sir. You guys no. No. Yeah, I mean, you didn't see any other black trucks on the road, maybe. No, that shit. You can't miss my truck. No, I know, but I'm making sure we don't have the wrong truck. Did you guys see another just? Shit, if you said it ain't got no bed, bitch, I'm the only one around here with no bed. Okay. Yeah, I just took it off 2 days ago. So, but no, I never said. Shit, if anything, I may have been yelling at him. Asking him if he wanted candy? No.
And a PlayStation.
Nobody even said nothing.
I never said candy. Candy never came out of my mouth. Okay. So, just you guys are being cool now, so we'll speed this along. But basically, we are investigating a crime. All right, at this point, still. All right. You told us you were driving the truck. We know he was a passenger. We're making sure if any IDs, official IDs, can be made. So until I'm gonna go call my deputy now to see if that's happening. I mean, you need my ID? No, unless we don't have it.
I don't have my ID on me, but I did give him all my right.
Yeah, you're fine.
Information.
So until I get that call that we're done here, you guys are staying right here. Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna take a little short ride, and like that paper said, don't feel pressure like you have to, pick somebody out. All right. We don't want to accidentally arrest the wrong person.
The kid have a mullet.
I'm around.
No, he doesn't.
Man, you guys can stand up. Stand about 15 feet apart. Just come up here. While I'm just standing in the yard.
Yeah, just you can come in the grass. You're good right there.
Yeah, that's the truck.
Okay. Do you see the person who was saying that?
The blue one.
This guy in the blue?
Yeah.
Okay, how certain are you?
Certain.
Turn your radio down a little bit. Just off? Yeah, just down enough for he's about to say something.
That's affirmative.
10-4, which one?
Blue shirt.
They had the right guy the whole time.
All right, I'm gonna look up a couple things real quick. Yeah.
You guys can sit back down where you were.
What's up, Lart? Good to see you, brother.
Do you want to give me a sworn record statement in regards to what occurred?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. You know the meaning of perjury?
Perjury.
I'll explain it.
No, I don't.
Okay, perjury is a crime in the state of Florida. It can be committed by telling lies or omitting information, which is leaving information out while under oath. Perjury is a crime in the state of Florida. Do you understand what I explained about perjury?
Yeah.
All right, prior to taking a sworn statement, I'm placing an oath. If you could raise your right hand.
He's got a fucking
You swear or
smirk on
affirm
his
the
face,
statement you're about
too.
to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you know why we're here. We already talked to you earlier. Would you like to say anything about that matter at all?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know that we went for a drive, did a trail, stopped at, well, it's Darcy's house, but we stopped there to talk to Chase because he's staying there right now.
Okay.
And we drove back here.
At any point, do you remember seeing any kids, or talking to any kids on the side of the road, walking home from school?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't think we did. I don't believe so.
You don't believe you talked to anybody? Okay. Your chance to be honest with me. Did you guys? So you're saying you did not talk to any kids on the side of the road at all?
No.
Not at all?
I mean, I was yelling at Leighton, but I was not yelling to no kids, nobody on the side of the road.
Do you remember seeing any walking by or anything like that?
I was not even paying attention.
Okay. Anything you want to change that or delete from what you told me?
No.
All right. This concludes the statement. Time is 5:13 p.m. All right, you can go sit over there. All right. Leighton, you're free to go.
Oh, okay.
So, Joseph, you need to come with us. Come on. Stand up.
He knew the whole time.
I'm going back.
He knows the duty, the deal, whatever.
Can I give him my vape? His charger's in my pocket too.
Yeah, what's on you goes with you.
Well.
Here, man. Can I get my shoes though?
One of the vape has any marijuana or THC in it.
Never mind. Forget about it.
So you're going for luring and enticing.
That's cute.
It's not cute. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, go f yourself.
2 counts. Okay.
Yeah,
Even if you're joking around, it's so stupid.
yeah, go f yourself.
Okay.
First off, there's something under your car.
Well, the thing is, remember oops.
Sir.
They said that they had stopped to talk at Stacy's house. Maybe he was in there talking to Stacy, and this is while the dude was waiting in the truck. Maybe that's why they didn't arrest him. I don't know. But it is what it is. At least one of them got arrested and charged with 2 felonies. Don't know if he was convicted yet because this court system's slow. Well, that's a look into pedophiles that are getting caught and arrested, and in some cases, let right back out on the streets. Virginia, Texas. I don't know, there's more states like that, but not from what I showed today. But we're not done yet. Now we're going to listen to the Ed Clay Show. And who's on the Ed Clay Show? None other than Alex Rosen. I'll admit, I haven't seen this yet. It was sent to me this morning, I think. But I'd already seen it show up in the timeline, my For You page. I was like, I'm going to watch that later. Well, it's later. So let's get to this. It is, oops.
When I hear Harry tell me that he molested a 1-year-old, I want to do things that, if I say it, will get you banned on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, all ages,
catch online child
let's get
predators.
to
We have
the
arrests in
end of the
46
show,
different
man.
states, convictions in 40.
Look
I
at
made a
this
fake
bald,
account of a
sexy
15-year-old
motherfucker.
boy. 30 minutes later, somebody wants to go meet that 15-year-old for sex. From there, it just was endless. Jeffrey Rose, he was probably one of the sickest people we've caught. He admits to us that he has 50,000 images of child porn. He's like, I have it all saved for the FBI.
What's the most dangerous situation that you've been in?
Most recently, we got a guy arrested. He threatened me with an AR-15. We caught a guy, Donald Letcher, in South Dakota. He ended up blowing his brains out, which is why we don't have a South Dakota arrest. We'd have 47 if he just hung in there for a little bit longer. People say, oh, that the justice system sucks. It definitely does. These people need to be in jail for the rest of their lives. The DAs give way too many slaps on the wrist. It's not about what's perfect in this world. It's about what's optimal. And what's optimal is sending them to jail, giving them registry. In some cases, we do have life sentences. It's not like it's always bad. Evil truly has no limits, and evil's real. Don't live your life in fear. Most people are still good people.
Alex Rosen, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Man, thank you, man. I'm excited because I'm a fan of your work. Been following you for a while, and I just love what you do, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, you said you're 24 years old. How did you get started? Doing something like this, and then it making such a big impact where a lot of people follow your work and those type of things.
Well, what we do is I have a group called Predator Poachers where we catch online child predators across the country.
Not Envy
We have
Cat?
arrests in 46 different states, convictions in 40, and the main way we do that is by posing as a minor online, and predators across the country message us in a sexual way or allude to that they're committing crimes, and we approach them on camera, and we hope to get a confession out of them on camera. And we turn that over to law enforcement, and, like I said, that's yielded arrests in 46 states, convictions in 40. And we started doing this when I was 19 years old, 5 years ago. I was playing college football at Texas Southern. And by playing, I mean I was on the roster. I did not see the field at all.
Yep.
But, we had 3 weeks off going into summer. And I just started watching these types of videos online. Like, I've seen the Chris Hansen and stuff in high school and all that. But it did, I was always thought, well, that's interesting. But it never really stuck with me. But now it's like I wanted to be a cop, and I had to wait 2 years because you got to be 21 to graduate the academy in Houston.
Yep.
So I just kind of jumped into doing this because it wasn't just Chris Hansen I saw at that point. It was like random people doing it, just kind of wearing a shorts and t-shirt like I am, just regular dudes. And I'm like, wow, is it this common? So I made a fake account of a 15-year-old boy. 30 minutes later, somebody wants to go meet that 15-year-old for sex. And then from there, it just was endless. Like, it just never stopped. And, slowly but surely, we started traveling the country and racking up arrests. And now here we are.
So your first one, the first, you pose as a 15-year-old. What did you go and meet the person? Did they get arrested? How did that work?
Oh, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I was it's like we go into people's trailer homes and they're armed, and then like we're just able to kind of navigate that situation. But 19-year-old me back in the day, I was scared to even go up to this dude. Like, I just got his license plate, drove off.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, yeah, a lot of our people at first did not get arrested. We're from Houston, Texas, and Harris County doesn't really like to prosecute criminals too much. And back in the day, we were doing it in a very unprofessional way. Like, it didn't really occur to us that maybe we should get them to admit to crimes on camera and then turn that over. So I'd say our first 2 years, year and a half of doing it, we're kind of figuring it out, doing it the wrong way. But since like late 2020, early 2021, we've just been racking up the arrests.
Yeah. So how many arrests have you got?
I lost count. I just know it's 46 states except for Montana, South Dakota, Rhode Island, and Alaska, because we just haven't been to Alaska.
Sure.
But it's at this point, it's over 200 arrests.
Wow.
How many convictions?
That's amazing. And how long does it normally take you to, set these stings up?
Well, it really depends. Like, back in the day when we first started, we were just doing like local dating apps, so it would be that same night. But as we started to, what I say, catch the quote unquote real sick ones, they're all bad, but there's definitely levels to it. Like, we catch a lot of people now that are into infants and toddlers, and you're not necessarily going to find that on like a dating app per se. You might find somebody who's like, oh, you're 15 and home alone, I'll try this. But yeah, it really varies. Now it can take weeks or months simply because they can be so far away. But we had one recently in League City, Texas. His name's Harry Phillips, 21 years old. And the youngest ones are always the sickest ones because they're good with the internet. They have access. They know how to access all types of child pornography that, say, a boomer won't be able to access or can't. So Harry, he was going after our 12-year-old decoy. and he came to meet her up for sexual contact. And we mentioned that we had a 4-year-old cousin, and he was totally okay with that too. And when I approached him in person, he agreed to talk to me. I talked to him for about an hour and 30 minutes, and he admitted to me that, yeah, he was there to do sexual things to a 12-year-old. He also admitted that when he used to babysit kids when he was in California a couple of years ago, he molested a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I'm sure he has other victims too that he just didn't admit to. But he was just a total monster. His preference was babies. Like, I don't think, because we get a lot of people who have seen that stuff in babies, but not really, I wouldn't say that's a preference. This dude preferred babies. He said that he masturbated to pornography of infants. I mean, this guy was probably one of the sickest people we've ever caught. And luckily, League City PD arrested him. But then a guy yesterday we caught in Benton, Illinois, Kevin Getz, he's been talking to us since April, and we finally got him arrested yesterday. So it can take it all varies. It could take a day or months or even a couple of years.
So how does it work
What
with
Raven
law
would say,
enforcement?
5
Are they
years?
generally receptive? Are they, do you tell them ahead of time what you're doing? How does that work?
It depends on the jurisdiction. I would say they're mostly receptive to what we do. Like yesterday in Benton, Illinois, we caught Kevin Getz. He has a little 3-year-old daughter. He was going after our 11-year-old decoy. It was just very vile, like anything you could think of, he said. And he also admitted to watching pornography as young as babies and toddlers and seeing that pretty frequently. But that area, that prosecutor, big shout out to Abigail Din, the state's attorney in Franklin County, Illinois. She loves what we do. As a matter of fact, right before I got in here, I was just on the phone with her going over yesterday, and she's like, she gave us an update on another guy we caught in that county in December. He's pleading to 5 years, Thomas Boucher. And yeah, so she's very receptive. That county's awesome. And a lot of places are like Huntsville, Alabama, Amarillo, Texas. And when we go to places like that, we do try to give them a heads up. We do most of the time. But when we go to like a new place, we don't really give too much of a heads up. We kind of just hand it to them after. And if they're receptive, we give them a heads up the next time. If they're not, then we don't.
Have any jurisdiction said, we're not going to take what you do?
Oh, absolutely. Great Falls, Montana. We've been to Great Falls, Montana 3 times, and each time we blatantly had somebody committing a crime, straight up meeting an underage kid for sex. Each time they've made admissions, which I think were incriminating, objectively. And Great Falls, Montana, Cascade County, just each time has told us to piss off. Like they just don't want anything to do with us. And I think Montana's going to be probably state number 50 when it comes down to it if we get an arrest there. So
what do they say to you when they say we're not interested?
Well, they say you're a civilian, evidence can't be used, even though that's just objectively not true. In over 40 states, the law states for solicitation of a minor or whatever, enticement, solicitation, it changes kind of somehow with the name of it. But whatever, if you think you're talking to a kid for sex, as long as they believe they're talking to a minor, they can get charged for it. So that's why our evidence can be used in like Alabama, Texas, Illinois, et cetera, because they believe they were talking to a minor, and it's pretty obvious they thought that, and they can get arrested for that. But in Montana, it's the same exact way. As long as they believe they're talking to a minor and travel to meet that minor for sex, they can get arrested. That's happened 3 times, and each time they were just like, well, ICAC standards, Internet Crimes Against Children standards, which I think is total garbage. Because we have ICAC detectives take up our case in other jurisdictions.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
stupid.
no
It
idea
shall be
why.
one set standard.
Who have you talked to from Montana that's like that's told you no? Is it the DA? Is it the police?
Yeah, so I've talked to the detective. Let me see what his name is.
Oh shit. Docs.
Yeah, I talked to
incoming?
the detective in Great Falls. Gosh darn it, I gotta find his name. I forgot what his name was, but I talked to a detective there, and he's basically the one that was like, okay, yeah, Detective Bambenek, Bambenek. He's basically the one that's like, yeah, our DA doesn't want to touch it. He seemed to be kind of receptive to what we're doing. Like he's like, send it in anyway.
Always the
I want to
DAs
go over
too.
it. And I just haven't heard back since. It's unfortunate because Great Falls is a big pedo problem. I mean, if we've driven up to 27 hours from Houston 3 separate times in 2 years, I mean, that's a pretty big issue.
So, I mean, if they're saying that, there's something procedural or it doesn't fall into certain standards, yet it's being done in 46 other states. I think you just said 46 other states. And the town or the city has a problem, it makes you wonder why they're not, you know, what's really going on? Are they sympathizers? Are they, you know, is that, doesn't sound like the detective is. It sounds like he, you know, finds it something they can do. But if the DA, have you looked up who the DA is there?
In Cascade County, I haven't, but I know it's a Republican.
Hey, more like that politician that I talked about last week, who thought it's legal. It should be legal to have incest and sex with your own children. Yeah.
Say the Democrats are soft on crime, which mostly they are. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a rule of thumb that if we're going to a red county, they're probably going to arrest them more than likely a blue county. We try to get them to red counties, but there's exceptions to both. I mean, there's blue counties like St. Louis County, Missouri, who loves what we do and prosecutes our people there. And there's red counties like Kern County in California and Cascade County in Montana that just tell us to completely F off. But no, I haven't really looked into the DA too much. I just don't ever want to go back to Great Falls. Don't want to beat a dead horse here.
Yeah, no, I just, it's unfortunate because ultimately, you know, the point is getting these predators off the street.
Right.
And, you know, and I'm not knocking how anybody else does it. But what I like about what you do is that you do get the police involved. It makes a difference. They get arrested, they go to prison or jail, and you get them off the streets where some other people that might not happen. And, you know, I appreciate the effort on the other side too, but I think the way you do it has the biggest impact. And ultimately, what we need in these situations are people that are making the biggest impact because, you know, you're not doing it for self-fulfilling reasons. You're doing it because you want to make a difference. And anybody who's doing it, you know, to me, you know, they should be doing it for those right reasons. And so when I hear of a DA that says we're not going to prosecute and you don't get a good reason, and they're saying that it can't be done because of some technicality, but it's being done all over the country with, you know, a couple hundred arrests, you know, it makes me wonder. And I'm not making any accusations, of course, about that DA, but it makes me wonder, who are they serving and why are they protecting pedophiles?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, there's no reason to not take the case up. I mean, screw it. Even if you are a pedo sympathizer, I mean, don't all these politicians want to win re-elections anyway? I mean, what better way to say I put pedos away? Even if it's like a plea deal, like I could tell you, I've testified in court. I mean, a lot of preliminary hearings, lost count of those, but trial, very rarely, because these idiots take, I mean, I guess they're not stupid for taking a plea deal because they went to trial. I mean, it always ends bad for them, but they almost always take plea deals. I guarantee you that DA can just offer, you know, whatever idiot we caught there, offer them 2 years in prison and a plea deal. I guarantee you they're going to take it and it's going to win in their book. So if they only care about optics, they should take it anyway. Like there's no reason to not take the case.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
You're giving it to them in a silver platter. Like, hey, you don't have to do all of this work.
Right.
Here it is.
Right.
So yeah, that's upsetting. You know, I've thought a lot about what you do, and it's an interesting model because I think you have to be careful if you're just like the guys that go out and beat people up and those type of things.
Right.
I'm not judging them. I don't think that's good. I want to beat the guys up too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But if you want to make the biggest impact, you got to put them away. And, you know, with your model, if it were structured in the right way, you could have one of these in every city. And you could have, you know, there would be so many volunteers because, you know, everybody wants to get, not everybody, but, you know, most people want to get those people off the street and find it appalling. And you could save the police forces a lot of resources and time, and you could just serve these cases up. You'd probably have to have a specific, okay, we need to hit this point, this point, this point, systematize it to where if it's, you're giving the perfect case to the DA that checks the boxes, and I don't know what those boxes are, but I think it has potential to make a really huge impact.
Yeah, we've started to do that. I have a guy, we call him PP Agent Orange. He has a law enforcement background, and he kind of does it under me in North Carolina, Virginia, like kind of like those mid-Atlantic states. Yep. And he's already racked up, I believe, like close to 10 arrests at this point. He's only been doing it a couple months, but he's been great, and it saved me the gas of going to North Carolina. I can just go to other states now. And I'm working on maybe getting another guy to do it. I just got to be very careful with that because liability, I don't want any BS falling back on me. Like, I know Agent Orange in person. So, I mean, I trust him. And shoot, he before he started doing this, he was giving me advice because he has that background and telling me what to say. So, I mean, you know, I obviously trust him with it. And I just got to be very careful who I vet because, yeah, like you said, the people that beat him up, I don't want that falling back on me. No. And trust me, like when I hear Harry Phillips tell me that he molested a 1-year-old, I want to do things that if I say it will get you banned on YouTube, so I'm not going to say it. But like it's what's practical. Like people say, oh, the justice system sucks. It definitely does. You know, these people need to be in jail for the rest of their lives, and the DAs give way too many slaps on the wrist. But it's not about what's perfect in this world. It's about what's optimal, and what's optimal is sending them to jail, giving them registry. And in some cases, we do have life sentences. So I mean, it's not like it's always bad.
Or death sentences.
Yeah.
Well, I want to connect you with some of my friends because a lot of them are ex-special forces. They go on these missions and stuff, and you know,
in South America,
structure could make. I mean, you're already making a big difference, but I mean, it could make a giant impact. And you've got to do things.
A lot of operators in South America.
Figure out who you could hire in whatever area to, you know, and make sure the background check, all the boxes are checked for you to be safe. But I really like the model. I mean, it saves the states and cities money.
Oh, definitely.
People are passionate about it. They would want to do it. I mean, they want to volunteer, you know, and yeah, I could see you going really, really far with it. I like it because, you know, it's a way that citizens can make a real difference. And we're all kind of we all want to make a difference, you know, like, oh, we want to do good in here, but you know, a lot of times we don't have a way that we can see doing it. And I think that yours could start a movement, man. It's effective.
Oh no, it has. Like yesterday in Benton, Illinois, the only reason we were able to get that dude arrested is because this person that I knew in that county, I met him because we caught this guy named Thomas Boucher in December in West Frankfort. That's a town over. And his neighbor, you know, was talking to him after, telling him what was going on. We exchanged phone numbers, and I hit him up. I'm like, hey, I can't find this guy. Can you try to find this dude? And he ends up finding him like a few weeks later.
Oh, shit.
And that's why like we were able to get him. So that is definitely the community getting involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's kind of the process that you use? You use forums and dating apps, etc. But I mean, do you just make a post? How does all that work?
Oh, it totally varies. Like for the most part, I always say like, yeah, it's tedious to try to get these admissions out of them. It's tedious to talk to them for months and months and sometimes years. But the easy part is just getting.
You guys think there's like a specific app that the upper class uses, you know, that totally illegal operations, but they can get away with it because no one really has access to it except for like, I don't know, the top 25%? Or is that just something that I just made up in my mind?
Getting a pedo to hit you up online. That is so easy. I
want
to show you this real quick if I could. This is what my decoy sent me earlier. She just was giving me a little bit of an update of what she has going on. So these two screen recordings are from both of her accounts, and these are just all the pedos like within the past day that's been talking to her.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she just, what does she do to get them to
Yo,
respond?
I never even thought about that. Decoys do have to go through a lot of fucking messages, a lot of fucking pedophiles, and a lot of people. I didn't even think about that. It's not like, oh, we put one post out and 10 people respond. Just seeing all those messages, I didn't even think about it. And I'm an idiot. I'm going to continue to smoke.
Oh no, we respond to them. They hit us up. But yeah, it can involve like putting out like a post or something saying I want friends or hi, how's it going? Like just posting on our wall or whatever. But oftentimes, I mean, we go to our inbox. It's just friend request, friend request, friend request, friend request. Like there's never a shortage of these people. It's unbelievable. But yeah, we always end up telling them that we indicate that we're underage and where we're decoying, almost all the time they're okay with it. I mean, I can't think of one in the past couple of years that said they were not okay with the age.
Yeah.
But on the dating apps, which we don't really use anymore, it's more like half and half. Some are like, all right, you're too young.
Yeah.
But then other times, you know, we do it kind of unconventionally. Sometimes we pose as a pedo ourselves. Like, you know, I told you I'm 24 and you looked a little bit shocked when I told you that at first. So the pedos also don't believe I'm 24. So I've posed as a 35-year-old father of a 9-year-old girl before. And we've gotten a few people arrested because they think they're meeting up with the dad and the 9-year-old girl. Like we had a...
That's so sick, man.
Yep. And Eric Groh in Marion, Indiana, he drove 4 hours from Hartman or Hartfield, Ohio. I forgot the town, but he drove to Marion, Indiana in March. I had him on the hidden camera. I had my daughter with me, who is, you know, actually his girlfriend now, one of my decoys. And she was, you know, she was wearing a mask and all to kind of look younger and all that. And you know, we had one of our subscribers talk about community getting involved, playing as my wife. And hidden camera, walk in the room. He's caught red-handed on camera, you know, talking about the child porn he has on his phone, mentioned that he did stuff with his own daughter all on the hidden camera. And then when I reveal it to him, of course, the first thing he does is backtrack on molesting his own daughter, predictably. But you know, I end up talking to him as, you know, catching him for like close to 2 hours. He ends up admitting to child pornography, trading child pornography. He ended up getting arrested that night for attempted molestation and child pornography, and he has trial coming up. I forgot the date, but very soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are the laws like across the country for this? When I hear 2 years or 5 years, I think, you know, there's people that do what I would consider much less crimes and get more time than that. What is there? What are they like?
Well, it's not really the laws that are too bad. It's the enforcement of them that's the problem. Like, so many sex... I mean, I don't have the stats on this, but this is just me using common sense.
Maybe that these DAs don't really want to pick this up because if they are consider themselves a protected class under the LGBTQ MIA, or what is it called? MAPs. I mean, that's a black eye. But they can pull that, hey, I'm being discriminated against because of my sexual identity or orientation. One of those two, or both.
I would assume that sex crime offenses of pedophiles are the ones that are least taken to trial because nobody wants to put that out there in front of a jury. So I would assume, you know, if you're like drunk driving or something, you know, there's no like humiliation arguing I wasn't drunk or whatever, but you know, you don't want to go through your messages as a pedo and stuff. But so I think a lot of them get light sentences because they take so many plea deals, and the DAs are so giddy on just saying, look, I put a pedo away, without, you know, actually putting a pedo away for such a long time. But in most states, the laws are pretty good. There's a few states like Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nebraska, and a couple others where it has to be law enforcement on the other end of the communication for it to be a prosecutable offense. But the way we get around that is, you know, we go to Nebraska, we catch a lot of people with child pornography, and they get arrested for that. Same with Ohio and Pennsylvania. But, you know, if we get somebody in those states and they're just messaging our decoy and there's no child porn on their phone, I mean, they walk free. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong here, some of the people that you're busting seem to be a little slow. Is there a mental acuity correlation with, you know, a certain percentage of people?
Yes. I would say the reason that is, I mean, we get like 25 to 30 of these people every month. Like, I believe Kevin yesterday was number 26 of the month. So there's going to be a handful that are slow. Like, we put out a pretty big net, and, you know, sometimes we catch people who are so slow. And I mean, we had a guy last trip who was just so completely dumb that I just like took his phone and went through it, and there was nothing on there. I didn't even bother going to the cops. I mean, this guy was obviously just like this type, and so I was like, screw it. But yeah, there's definitely a decent portion. It's not most of them or even half of them, but there's a notable enough portion that are slow. And I don't buy the reason that they're just dumb, that they're just retarded and they just message kids. I don't really buy that. Maybe it's out of loneliness, but again, I mean, there's a lot of special needs people that will never message a kid that know it's wrong.
Yeah.
So I just think with anything else, I mean, it just is a coincidence that happens.
Yeah. I mean, even if they are special needs, they need to get off the streets because they're doing damage.
Right.
I was just kind of like, okay, that person seems like they are a little little slow. I got arrested 25 years ago, and on drug charges, and it's part of my past. We'll explain it to you one day. But I spent about 6 months in jail, and there was a guy in there that was telling me this stuff he was doing, and he was special needs, and his logic and reason. I'm like, this is sick. So I actually went to the guards and said, hey, this guy just told me all of this stuff, and they investigated, and he got in trouble for it.
Good.
But you know, he was justifying it, you know, and I'm sure you probably see that where people justify these, you know, so their logic is so far off of what you or I would think, or anybody that's normal
also justify it, though.
would think. Talk about some of these people's mindset, because I'm guessing you've seen similar things like, oh, they like it, or all this bullshit. You know.
Well, Gene Clywer in Tacoma, well, he's from Ritzville, Washington, drove 4 hours to Tacoma. We caught him in 2022. He ended up getting 2 years, and he was a sex offender, got 2 years, but you know, that's long for Washington. Proud of them for that. He was on the registry originally for molesting a 2-year-old, and his logic was the 2-year-old touched his penis, and it was the 2-year-old's fault. That's the most extreme I've seen with that. I mean, I've seen others where, yeah, I mean, I'm on the registry for a 13-year-old, but you know, she told me she was 18. I didn't know till after, stuff like that. But I also heard a guy, oh man, what was his name? Donald Griffin in Spokane, Deer Park, Washington, a suburb of Spokane. We caught him in March, and his case ended up going federal for child porn. But, you know, when he was describing videos of infants he was watching, he was like, oh, the infants seem to enjoy it. And that was probably the most shocking one I've heard about the child porn they watched, because I've heard them say, like, oh, I've seen the videos of babies. Of course, I didn't like it, even though I can describe the whole video in detail.
Yeah.
But they always say, like, they look in pain and all this stuff. But Donald was like, oh, yeah, they enjoy it. And he was just completely child porn brained out. Yeah.
I do want to beat him, man, when I hear that shit.
Oh, yeah. And you know, that's a guy that's escaped justice his whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he got his leg broken because they accused him of sleeping with this 14-year-old girl in Oregon, which, of course, you know, what a coincidence, right? So, you know, even when we catch them with something like child porn, you know, there's always a history there with that. Like, I'll say, it's kind of off topic, but we caught a guy, Donald Letcher, in South Dakota last month. He ended up blowing his brains out, which is why we don't have a South Dakota arrest. I mean, we'd have 47 if he just hung in there for a little bit longer. He ended up dying at the hospital that night. But, you know,
that was after you busted him?
Yes.
Yep.
And he did it when the cops were on scene. So, you know, I'm liability free for that. You know what I'm saying? But,
that was a huge
you know, he admitted to watching all this child pornography. He was messaging our fake 12-year-old account. Didn't ask to meet up for sex, but was asking for nudes from us. And obviously we can't provide that, but he was trying to get it from us. And, you know, he blows his brains out, and turns out Donald Letcher in 1996 got convicted for molesting a 9-year-old girl, but he was not a sex offender because the South Dakota Supreme Court overturned it. So who knows what he was doing for the next 28 years, you know? And then boom, 28 years later, he gets caught for child porn. Then all that gets unearthed. And I think that's why he ended up doing it to himself.
Gosh, it's a bunch of sickos. What's the craziest case you've worked on?
Well, I'd say Donald Letcher blowing his brains out was pretty nuts. Let me dig back for this one. I'll give a crazy scenario that happened. Maybe it'll count. So in 2021, we caught an individual named Fred Hendricks Jr. in Eugene, Oregon, and he owned a mechanic shop, and he was a sex offender, but I'll tell you, he was very charming. Like, outside of being a pedo, like, if you didn't know he was a pedo, you'd be like, oh, that's Fred, what a great guy. Like, you could tell, and even the reviews on his car shop, very like, oh, he gave me a discount, he was great, very understanding, and you could see why he molested a lot of kids, because using that...
All right, I'm going to stop this just for a second, because brought up weird things and how they can't send images. Yet, you know, there's an Army soldier in Alaska that got busted for having thousands of AI-generated child pornography.
Stationed at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson made his first appearance in federal court today on charges of using artificial intelligence to generate child sexual abuse material. Investigative reporter Johnson Kuhn joins us now with all those details.
Rebecca, last week, a federal grand jury charged 34-year-old Seth Herrera with 1 count of transportation of child pornography, 1 count of receipt of child pornography, and 1 count of possession of child pornography, and he was arrested the following day. Accused of using AI to generate child sex abuse materials depicting minors he knew personally, a federal judge is now siding with the prosecution and saying that Herrera poses a danger to the community. That's based on the severity of his charges as well as the level of sophistication Herrera displayed in attempting to conceal his actions. And it means he will stay in custody for the duration of his trial. In a press release issued by the Justice Department, Deputy General Lisa Monaco said, in part, that, quote, the misuse of cutting-edge generative AI is accelerating the proliferation of dangerous content, including child sexual abuse materials, so the Department of Justice is accelerating its enforcement efforts. As alleged, the defendant used AI tools to morph images of real kids into horrific child sexual abuse material. Now, no trial conference has been decided as of yet, but a discovery management conference is slated for 1:30 on October 1st. The U.S. Attorney's Office did not immediately respond to a request for comment from a...
Shit's fucking crazy, right? It was only a matter of time before anything that good gets abused. And if people thought, hey, I'm going to do it this way because it's completely legal, it's computer generated. No. Any kind. You know, if they say, well, if the Constitution was a living document, why can't this be a living document? Change with the times, right? All right, I sound like a little crazy. But you guys know what I mean. I make total sense. And let's get back to the video, why don't we? Where are you going?
Charm. He probably got his way into all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we get him, and he's one of those people that his head was so far up his butt. I mean, he just loved to talk about what he did. So I didn't really have to interrogate him per se. I just listened to what he told me, and he admitted to talking to this 8-year-old girl, you know, sexually. He got 3 years in prison for our little case on him. But what happened was he talked about molesting his daughter, which is what he went to prison for in the first place, before he got out and messaged our decoy. But he admitted to molesting all these other kids, like just freely. It's not like I got it out of him or anything. He just told me. And what happened was when that video came out, his niece, who he admitted to molesting in the video in Arizona, she files a police report with Maricopa County. And what happened was she told her family back then that it happened, and nobody believed that Fred did that to her.
Oh, wow.
But on video now, he's admitting to doing it to her. So they ended up charging him with that. They extradited him from Oregon when his sentence was over, and he's now doing 25 years in Arizona because
Nice.
That's fucking awesome.
Good. Well, that's a good sentence.
The good guys
I
win.
agree with that.
Have you ever got anybody to get like life in prison?
Yes. We have a 131-year sentence, which I consider a life sentence.
Yeah.
Mark Mallow in Converse, Texas. He was out on bond when we caught him for child pornography. He was a middle school teacher. He got caught by Nick McTip or whatever, and the cops just got him for that. But he gets out. We were coincidentally on a dating app, so we don't really pull too many quote unquote child, really bad ones from there.
Yeah.
But he hit up our 14-year-old decoy. He gave us his phone number. I saw who it was, and I looked him up, and I'm like, no way, this guy's like out on bond right now. And we approach him at his home. He admits to the messages with the 14-year-old, admits to having child porn again, and went to trial in Bexar County. Took it to trial like a fool. I mean, he got a 50-year plea deal offered to him, did not take it, and he ended up getting sentenced to 131 years from the first case and our case. And,
Good.
Then we had another guy. Aaron Scott Kingston in Albany, Oregon. He was a sex offender too. We caught him again. He got life in prison. He's doing it in Snake River in all the way in East Oregon. He got life sentence for that, which is crazy for Oregon. And then we caught an individual named Jeffrey Rose in Las Vegas. He was probably one of the sickest people we've caught. And this is a crazy one. We caught him in 2023, and he was out on... He had an ankle monitor on. He was already sentenced to life in prison in the early 2000s for molesting a bunch of kids, but his attorney scored him a retrial. So he was out on like pretrial release or something like that with the ankle monitor. He hits up our 9-year-old decoy account. His first message to us is, "Do you like child porn?" to a 9-year-old girl. And I mean, shout out to my guy for decoying that one, because God, what a sicko. I mean, just a lunatic. And yeah, so we approach him at his home. We find out where he lives. He admits to us that he has 50,000 images of child porn stored. And, you know, he's like, I have it all saved for the FBI. I got folders in my room for the FBI and all that stuff. And obviously that wasn't true. But the way I got him to admit to all that is because, oh, okay, you're trying to do the right thing. I'll help you with that. And I'm like, I hope you're saving all that stuff and documenting it, right? He's like, oh, I'm saving all of it and documenting it all. And I'm like, all right, you're saving child porn. But what was crazy about him is he started crying at the end because he knew his life was over. But he would never admit to touching those kids. He would admit to the child pornography, he would admit to jacking off to babies, but he would never admit to touching those kids. But, you know, he did not end up going to retrial. He just took a plea deal for 25 to life after that.
Okay,
so,
well, that's a good sentence too.
Yeah.
What's the most dangerous situation that you've been in, or you know, multiple dangerous situations you've been in?
Well, most recently, we got a guy arrested in Winchester, well, Stephen City, Virginia, suburb of Winchester, named Holden Briggs. This was like a couple weeks ago. He threatened me with an AR-15. He didn't pull it out or anything, but
I saw that one. Yep.
Yeah. So as soon as I brought up Telegram, which is an app they use, very common to trade child porn on, and you know, I don't like agree with the Telegram founder getting arrested or anything like that, but it's true when they say there's child porn on there. I mean, there's a shit ton. But yeah, he's like, you got 2 minutes to get off my property or else. And, you know, I dip out of there, but I end up calling him on his phone, and he's 23. I'm 24, but it's not I look older. I can say, hey, man, when I was your age and stuff like that, and, you know, play that role. He agreed to come talk to me, and, you know, I freaking calmed him down. He admitted to sending all these dick pics to kids and to viewing child porn on the dark web. And he got arrested and all that, and he was like going crazy, like saying, I'm going to kill myself now, whatever. But
so go ahead.
You're right. But turns out when they searched his car, he brought a shotgun and AR-15 to the scene when he met us at this parking lot after. So who knows? I don't think he was. I think I calmed down enough to where he wasn't planning on doing anything. But, you know, just in case shit hit the fan for him, I mean, what a psycho.
Are you armed when you go to these?
Me personally, no, but I can't speak for my friends.
Sure.
So,
yeah. They're local. They can have their permits and stuff.
Right.
That's good. What's
constitutional carry state, bitches?
Dangerous one that you've been involved with?
Well, John Rector in Massachusetts a couple months ago, and I think in May or June or something. He only talked to me for like 5 minutes, and he's like, I knew I messed up. I knew she was 11. The conversation's over. And I'm like, John. And he starts going to his car, just kind of walking there. And I'm like, are you getting anything? And he doesn't respond to me. I'm like, uh-oh. And he goes into his little side door. He pulls out a pistol, and we just run the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And then he ended up, so I hid in this apartment, and he called me on my phone because I had his phone number because, you know, I was delivering a package to him. So try to meet him up somewhere for that. And he calls me in a demonic voice. He's like, where are you? And I'm like, oh, dude, God, I was so scared shitless. But he ended up getting arrested on the gun charges. I don't think he's been charged for the underage stuff yet, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you're going into these situations, like, you know, do you have a plan of if, you know, shit gets wild, what to do?
Yeah. I mean, you know, we try to never, ever, ever show what we have on us. Like, if we can get out of there first, we can. But I mean, we do prepare. I mean, we have what we have for a reason. And, you know, if it gets to a point, I mean, you know, my camera guys are in the car most of the time. I mean, step on the gas and just
run them over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's, what's the mindset that you have going in? Is it an adrenaline rush? Take us through that process.
Well, to me, it's like preparing for game day, playing football and all that. I don't know. I just like the whole process of it. Like yesterday when we were trying to look for Kevin still, we knew where he was, but he just wasn't answering his door. So we're trying to get a hold of him. So, I mean, we had to go to his ex-girlfriend's job. We talked to her, you know, just doing some fact checking. I mean, that's all fun, but going into it, I wouldn't say it's an adrenaline rush anymore because I don't know. I mean, when it's like a really bad one like Harry, who's just saying all this crazy stuff, then yeah, maybe a little bit. But the adrenaline's gone. I just really have fun with it. I mean, it's like game day. Just prepare for it, put on the music, and just get ready to win. Because it's like mental chess. It's like it's competition to me. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I can imagine there would be an adrenaline rush to it.
Oh, it's fun.
And you know, there's danger. You're putting your life at risk pretty much every time.
Yeah.
So you never know. You train any like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or MMA?
Oh my God, I got to, man. I mean, I just got back in the gym the past 6 months. Man, traveling the country, I have 85,000 miles on this car already that I got in January, brand new. So I ballooned up to like 350 pounds, just totally out of shape. And I'm like, as soon as I saw a comment on one of my videos, like,
I thought he was looking fatter.
I'm like, oh hell no! Like I can't. There's no way a 24-year-old should be hearing that. So, rather than use that to be like, oh, how dare you? It's like, I mean, I went so hard in the gym when I played football. I mean, I wasn't the best player. I mean, I was pretty good, but like, I would always work the hardest. I mean, no matter what I do, I'm going to work the hardest. And even with other predator catchers, I'll always say I'm not going to say I'm the best, but I'm going to say I work harder than them for sure. But man, that just motivated me to get back in the gym and like screw that. So I'm down to 315 now. Got a long way to go. I want to get down to like 290, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Well,
from a self-defense aspect, that's where I was bringing it up, not because of weight. It's more of like, these situations get a little hairy.
Technique over weight or strength.
It might be good to have some.
I need to do that. I definitely do.
Yeah, there's some gyms in Houston. I'll look them up. That was my old background, and see if there's a good one that I'll sponsor your fee in there too.
Oh, appreciate it.
I'll take care of that one for you.
My little brother used to go to Gracie Barra, but he just got so busy with his work too. But yeah, man,
even
I
a couple
really have
days
no
a week
excuse.
because you get in these crazy situations, and you really need to know the technical aspect of defending yourself.
You're absolutely right.
And it would just help. And with your size, it's a big advantage.
Definitely.
So just understanding just the basics would make a huge difference.
No, I'll take you up on that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And even like, I mean, setting this up in a way, and I'm happy to help fund, the stuff that you're doing. Even I'm thinking, your car. Well, do we sponsor getting you a car to go in and things like that, things that could help you out. How are you making a living though?
Well, we're making a living from having the best supporters in the world. So, we post our videos up to platforms, there's the ad revenue and all that, but, YouTube has banned us banned my lookalikes. I've never had a YouTube channel, but they've banned my lookalikes so many times. And so we can't really rely on them. And so that's a small piece of the pie now. We usually use locals.com, and I'm not endorsing locals.com. They need to get their stuff together. It's just the platform's like glitchy as hell.
I don't even know what it is.
It's like, Rumble, obviously, right? So locals like Rumble's Patreon, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, they need to fix their stuff. But yeah, I mean, we got supporters on there. We got thousands of supporters on there, and they give anywhere from like $5 to $10 a month, and they see the results we get. We make sure to update them with convictions to show them that, your money's not going to, Lamborghini or anything. It's going to getting these people locked up. And, they're very supportive. They've been with us through the thick and thin, and I can't ask for anybody better. So that's how we make a living.
Well, if you can get a nonprofit set up, and I've got people that could help you with that too.
Oh yeah,
I'm happy to.
Do they live in Colorado?
Nice donation to help you out and help spread the word because it's really good work, man. And I think with the right
and you're gonna
structure,
sponsor some. That's fucking pimp, bro.
You can make it. I mean, you're already making a big difference, but you can make a huge difference.
I agree. I'm 24 and I think I'm okay at talking to pedos, but all the other stuff, I mean, I'm still like a 24-year-old.
Hey,
so
you're doing pretty darn good though, man. I mean, it takes experience and it's but there's people that would want to get involved and
definitely,
because anybody who's a good person wants to get this shit off the streets.
Oh yeah.
And it could be tougher laws. It could be, more investigations, but there's so many people that would volunteer to be a part of something like this. And then you just got to get funding. And I don't think you'll have a problem actually raising a good amount of money to, structure it out, make the biggest impact that you possibly can. And, I think that you deserve, by the way, in my opinion, you deserve to make a good living, dedicating your life to saving children. Like you should
for sure
be comfortable. So
I will say, if you don't want to bankroll something, I'm thinking about running for a place next year in the Texas House of Representatives because
shit,
there was this case that happened in Livingston, Texas, like an hour and a half from me, and her name's Audrey Cunningham. And what happened was, I may get a few of these details wrong, but she was killed by a convicted sex offender, and I think the detail I might be missing here is I don't think he was convicted I don't think he was a sex offender anymore. He got such a light sentence, so I don't think the dad knew, and he was living on the property and ended up murdering her.
Damn.
So yeah,
there's so much stuff like that, and I don't see why any city would want to be light on, people that molest children.
I don't get it.
And there is a push right now. I think I see a lot of things as good versus evil.
Right.
And like Germany, I think they decriminalized owning child porn.
Yeah. They put it down to like a misdemeanor or something like that.
Yeah,
or
something stupid.
What
And
the fuck?
There is a push normalizing that as well. Well, they minor attracted persons changing
Said that
the
earlier.
name of things, and we've seen that a lot the last really 4 or 5 years, where the truth is being shown as a lie, and lies are the truth, and they're really manipulating really the sheep into thinking a certain way, like, oh no, this is normal. Like, no, that's not normal. And so, yeah, I just think that, with what you're doing, if you got into the state house really pushing for tougher laws, Texas is probably pretty tough though, correct? No.
If he's in Houston.
You would think Texas, disappointing. I mean, yeah, Audrey Cunningham's murder, I don't even think was a sex offender at the time. And we've had so many people in Texas just get slaps on the wrist. Reoffending sex offenders get a year or 2 in prison. So what I would want to propose, and I'm just all brainstorming at this point, definitely no protective custody for pedos. Throw them in general population, just like Mississippi does. And raising the minimums. Like, I understand practically it's not going to be death penalty for messaging a minor, but minimum of 10 years. Stop giving these people plea deals. It's happening too much. And I think what's pretty broken can be a little bit more fixed. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What have you learned throughout this process? How has it possibly changed you?
It's changed in quite a few ways. I think the number one thing that I've said I've learned is evil has no limits. And because I used to think, when I first caught these people, I'd feel bad. Oh, he's just down in his dumps in his life right now. Oh, it's depression that's making him do this. And this was 19-year-old me. I used to have some type of sympathy for them. Not all of them, but some of them. If they gave me a good enough sob story, 19-year-old me was like, oh, okay, I understand. But now I realize how many of these people are just manipulators, how just effortlessly they lie. I'm not saying they're good liars. I'm just saying they lie pretty effortlessly.
Sure.
And just the pure depravity. I mean, we've caught people that had their own dogs sucking their dick. I mean, just the most depraved shit. Evil truly has no limits, and evil's real. But another thing is, I'd say, just don't live your life in fear. Don't be paranoid. Like, if you're looking for evil, you'll find it. Life's still good. Most people are still good people.
You don't have to work hard.
You're probably not going to be hurt. You know what I'm saying? So just don't be paranoid from our videos. Understand it exists, but don't just live your life coward. Don't say, oh, I don't want any kids because of pedos. Don't let them win. That's what I'd say.
What do you think that your videos have done for the conversation of this online?
I think it's done a lot. It's shown that the pedo problem, because I used to say this is the most untalked about problem that we have in the country right now. But now I'd say I don't think it's untalked about. I think it's talked about all the time. And I think it's also shown that, yes, Jeffrey Epstein and all of his associates need to be crimes Nuremberg. I get that. But the problem is down your street. I mean, the guy yesterday who helped us find Kevin, the pedo, I mean, we caught his neighbor in December and got him arrested, and now he's doing 5 years. Nice. So, the problem's down your street, and just look locally, look locally. Don't, because we've had so many people, come to us and say, hey, I was a victim of this as a kid. I went through this as a kid. And never was it, oh, it was a guy on a remote island doing this to me. It was always the neighbor. It was always the family friend.
Yeah.
And I think it should teach people, if you want to solve problems, start small and look locally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With society going in this, I'm going to call it evil direction.
Definitely.
I think what you're doing shows that, one person can make a big, a big difference just with a seemingly simple post.
It is simple.
And then, arrest, hopefully.
Yeah.
What percentage of the cases that you have end in arrest?
I would say it averages out till about half and half. So I was talking to him earlier, and we had three in the last 2 days. Kevin got arrested on the spot because the state's attorney in Illinois, in that part of Illinois, just loves us, and we love her back. But then we had a guy 2 days ago in Houston that we've caught, and the cops didn't even show up.
Yeah,
and even when we do turn them in, I don't anticipate they're going to do anything about this because where I'm from in Houston, they just suck with prosecuting criminals. And then we had another guy in Liberty, Texas, and same thing. We're going to turn that individual in. We already made it we already told the cops, and we're going to meet with him on Wednesday. So that's going to be a toss-up whether he gets arrested or not. But yeah, that's what kind of averages out to 50-50. Like if we're going to Baltimore, they're probably not going to do too much versus Benton, Illinois. So
interesting. Why do you think the bigger cities don't want to do anything?
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, the cops are so overloaded with their stuff, and then
although I still think if it's one of the bigger cities, expose them and just let some homeboys, just let them know, off camera, of course.
And I think people in bigger cities are just less involved with who they elect and less involved with who's representing them, or at least supposed to represent them. So I think they just elect people that just don't give a shit, and it reflects.
Yeah. How do you see predator poachers evolving? Like if you have a vision of 5 or 10 years, what does that look like to you?
Well, I usually don't look too far ahead. I look, at the next day and the next catch and all that. But ideally, sadly, we're starting to have people notice who I am. Like this past trip, we caught a subscriber to our Rumble channel, and he still talked to me and confessed to child porn anyway.
That's fucking nuts.
He's like, I know the playbook. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if you know the playbook. Tell me the truth. And he did. But then we had another guy who knew who I was, and he just shuts the door in my face, and nothing happened to him. So, ideally, in 5 or 10 years, I want more people doing this under the Predator Poachers name. Like we already have one guy doing it under our name, and hopefully another guy real soon. We're talking about it. And, just trusted people doing this. Like I don't want to have to go to, Oregon all the time or go to Maine all the time. So, hopefully get it going across the country. And in the end, it's more arrest of pedos.
How would you say this has affected you personally?
I think it's made me sharper with communicating with people.
What's up, Nanya?
Like, I mean, we've had to meet people
from
all walks of life. We met people just on welfare, and we met people that are making a ton of money, and just we really got to see the whole country. Like I know slang in Oregon, I know slang in other parts of the country. So I mean, it's real. I think it's made me pretty well read. I want to say, or well versed and stuff,
Sure.
and it's definitely I think made me sharper too. Like knowing how to kind of talk to pedo. Like I think I got better at questioning these people. Like if you see in 2019, it's like nothing like it is now. So I don't know, just meeting people across the country from all walks of life, whether they're pedos or whether they're subscribers or just random people. I think it's definitely gave me a lot of experience in a good way. So
that's awesome. What do you think? What's some of your biggest frustrations that you deal with on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis?
Oh my gosh. One of them, I mean, definitely just the cops not showing up in some places. Like we just kind of ended the interview with a pedo in Houston an hour and a half after calling the cops. He didn't even know they were called, and we just, we can't stall this guy all night. Eventually, he's just going to go back inside and just call it. So that's a big frustration. The cops not showing up in some places. And another frustration, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm not too frustrated with life. I mean, I'm a pretty happy dude, I think. But I think if I had to choose, it would be not seeing family as much as I want to. Like my grandma's 88 years old, and sadly, I used to see her like every week, but now it's like once a month. So, I kind of want to be there for her, but yeah, such is life.
Yeah. So you've been getting, more involved in politics. How do you think your work, could influence your political future?
Well, hopefully in a good way. I think the going after the pedos platform is pretty universal. I think most people on the left are anti-pedo. I just think they are naive and just claim, their politicians would never support that stuff. They're just more naive than anti-pedo, I think it is. But I hope it affects it in a good way. My platform would be raising sentences on pedos and slashing taxes rather than raising taxes and slashing sentences on pedos. So, I mean, I think it'd be a pretty liked one. I think it'll be good.
That's funny. Yeah. It's a good platform, actually. Yeah.
That's a great one.
I saw you recently had some choice words about Trump, and I've shared similar feelings.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about that, because I was like, well, your audience is probably mostly Trump supporters.
Yeah, definitely.
So were you concerned, running the risk of losing people by doing that?
Why?
Well, I think we built our audience by, working our asses off, catching a lot of pedos, getting a lot of pedos arrested. And, they stick around because I say what's on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was a huge Trump supporter in 2020. In 2016, I couldn't vote quite yet. I was too young. But you know what it is with Trump? I don't give a shit if he had to push the vax or if he whatever. No leader pushes a poison shot on their people. I don't care who you are, and still pushes it to this day.
Thing.
Operation Warp Speed is my biggest problem with him. The vaccine is the biggest bioweapon, I think, in history. He took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. If you look at the federal government numbers, Trump had more federal government employees than even Obama did. Up until COVID, he spent the same amount of money as Obama did per year. And Obama's no fiscal conservative, I'm sure as you know. And during COVID, I'm sorry, I don't care. There's no excuse for universal basic income. There's no excuse for stimulus checks. And now what politics is, it's who can pander to the welfare queens. Because I've seen on Twitter, vote for Kamala Harris. She's going to give you a stimulus check. No, vote for Trump. He's going to give it to you. I'm sorry. He moved the Republican Party so much to the left that it's basically now 2016 his rhetoric was great. Now it's like we're going to let in so many legal immigrants. I'm not voting this year. When a far right person runs, let me know and wake me up and I'll vote for him. But
he said that he's going to let in a bunch of illegals.
No, legal immigrants. Legal immigrants. Yeah. But a piece of paper doesn't mean that you're not going to leech off the system. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be a burden. I think there needs to be mass deportations. I mean, people say illegal immigrants don't leech off tax dollars. I'm from Houston. They do.
Yeah,
I worked with a lady and she's awesome. She's sweet. I love her a lot. But, she's an illegal. She had 4 kids and they're all on food stamps. They're all using the public school system. Yeah. Shit, I even dated an illegal immigrant in high school. It's a problem.
Well, I think there's a difference between illegal and legal. Someone who comes to our country legally, and
that's why it's called legal.
Reports that they're like 4 times more likely to become a millionaire than someone who was born here, because they see the American dream.
Right.
They see how great our country is and how much opportunity we have in the country. And so I don't actually have a problem at all with people coming in legally and doing what they're supposed to do. I think it actually helps our country. And I actually do believe there should be more from a legal standpoint. They go through the process. They do what they're supposed to do. They learn about our country. They want to make a positive difference, especially in the science and STEM fields. I mean, we only have so much talent here. And, if we want our country to keep, evolving and growing, I think we need that. But on an illegal standpoint, I agree. I think we should have mass deportations. They're literally flooding our country right now.
It's bad.
And a lot of them are committing sexual crimes against men and women.
In Houston, too. Jocelyn Uruguay, 2 Venezuelan illegals just raped and murdered her.
Yeah, man. Gosh, it's just so wild. And it's wild seeing the left. It's just not even the left. Anyone defend it, because I care about people. I don't want people that are suffering in other countries to be hurt or whatever happens to them. But I also love our country. We have so many problems in our country. I saw a report that we were spending approximately $450 billion a year on the illegal immigrants right now. Dude, that is outrageous when we can't even feed, our own people.
Yeah, we need to get a little bit mean. Being mean to others is being nice to our own people. And if it's the same thing, like, we can't go too hard on the criminals. We need to rehab them. Okay, well, for the victims, that hurts them. Nobody talks about the victims of, their false altruism. Yeah. And, when you give $450 billion to illegals, you're like, but it's just helping them. No, the victims are the taxpayer and the poor Americans.
That's right. That's right. And it's wild when you see the they're being shipped to these Democrat cities, and you see, underserved
Why does it not
communities
seem like
not getting.
everybody seems to not? I hear it so rarely, but I don't understand why it's not a bigger issue when it's literally 300,000 children coming across the border that just disappear. Why is that not a bigger issue? We know what they're sold into slavery, essentially.
The resources, yet the illegal immigrants, getting loans and getting opportunities that, I'm not for the welfare state on either side.
Me either.
But
Me either.
I'm also, if you're going to give it to somebody, I'd rather give it to American citizens than someone who snuck across a border.
I will say our welfare system is totally broken. We catch so many of these pedos on welfare. I'll give you one example of how broken the welfare system is. Charles Pelfrey, we got him arrested in West Virginia in April or sometime earlier this year. And we caught him first at Devine, Texas in 2022. He was not arrested on the spot. Devine's like a little bit south of San Antonio. We're not arrested on the spot, but they took up the case. They put out a warrant for his arrest a couple weeks later. And in that time, he bolted to West Virginia, where he's originally from. And he's had a warrant out for the past 2 years. And he hits up another one of our decoy accounts. We find out where he is in West Virginia. And straight up, we just talked to him, basically called the cops on him. And the cop sees that he has a warrant and he gets extradited back to Texas. But while he's in West Virginia with the felony child sex crime warrant out for his arrest, he was able to score government housing and get $1,000 a month from the government.
Fuck?
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, the system is set up. The biggest problem we have right now in the black communities is fatherless homes.
Yeah.
It's something like 80% right now.
Right.
And, that kind of all started right after the Civil Rights Act, 1964, when we encouraged those communities to not have fathers in the home. We gave people more money when they were single mothers and those type of things. And it really screwed up the system. I'm all for helping people, though, as far as I think we should have nonprofit programs. We should have, a lot of different things that should help people. And I think there is I think there's use into helping citizens that are working to get on a good path. That said, the welfare state is out of control. And, the titles that we put on these communities, like, what do they call them? Marginalized.
Yeah.
These.
There was I don't know if I saw it somewhere or I thought of this, but in order to stay on welfare, I saw this. So they're setting up a system to where, people will go for unemployment and then, apply for a job, not show up for the interview and just say, yeah, I applied, but I didn't get hired. And it goes into a system saying, yep, this happened and how frequently it happens. Makes sense. Gets people off of welfare. You don't want to find work, then we're not going to help you. So it forces them to find work. And if you want to be stupid enough to get to that point, you're an idiot. As well as welfare. Now, when I was in the military, pretty much we had to follow a certain standard in order to get paid. Now, for welfare, I honestly think if you're on welfare, you need to be drug tested once a month. Just to make sure you're not abusing it. Just like soldiers wanted to make sure that they're not abusing a substance. So that we know they're always in the right frame of mind and looking forward. They have to apply for jobs. I don't understand. You got people that work every day till they're 60, 65. But these guys and girls leech off the system because it's the easiest thing to do, and our government rewards it. And we wonder where all our taxpayers' dollars go. Make them work. Even though all our taxpayer money goes back to politicians. Shh. That's why we don't pay taxes, or we shouldn't pay taxes.
Little buzzwords, oppressed. My concern, when you tell a large group of people that there are certain things, they might actually believe it. Because if you believe that you're disadvantaged, or that the whole world's racist, or that you don't have a chance, then you're not going to have a chance. You're going to see the world through those lens that everything's unfair. Even me right now, I've done very well. I could choose to think that everything's against me, or I could choose to think that God is blessing me and giving me opportunity, and that's what I choose. But it really is a choice of how you see things. And if all these kids hear is how the system is against them, and well, you just got to take this check, they're actually going to believe that and do that.
Well, you seen the flies in the jar thing? Okay,
no.
So
no,
there's this experiment that was done. Basically, they capture a bunch of fleas or flies in a jar or whatever it is. They put the cap on for 3 days, and then by the time they remove the cap, no fleas leave the jar. They're just so used to that, no matter what. So even if they're shown the way, they're just still stuck in that same mentality. And I think, I start to understand more and more, because, you're super successful, and I'm hoping to be that one day. And I'm definitely more successful than I was at 19. But I'm starting to see now, it's like, all right, I went to the same quote unquote underserved schools that a lot of these kids did. My school was like 22 white kids, and out of 2,200 students, and I'm not saying I wasn't poor growing up at all, but, I was just zoned to that school. So I went there. But, I had the same teachers. I had like a similar path, but I can figure it out. So I start to understand, and Klaus Schwab is one evil POS. He needs to be Nuremberg too. But I can see why these people kind of hate us, because we're just perpetual victims. We're just kind of losers. And I could see why they're like, oh, these little peons. They play these games with us because it's just fun to them. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Because we're just so easy to manipulate. I think it starts, people just need to stop being manipulated. Like, I'm a Jew, and I have a lot of issues with Jews, like promoting pornography and, the tranny stuff. And those are Jews behind a lot of that. And, I'll be the first to say that. On the other hand, stop watching pornography. Don't just say, I have to do this because of the Jews. Just stop watching pornography. Take some, too much finger pointing, not enough thumb pointing going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem in our society, thumb point.
I agree. The victim mentality makes people miserable.
Exactly. It's
personal responsibility is where it's at, man.
Right,
this is the key to success. This is the key to happiness. When we put everything else on other people and we don't look to ourselves, and I've done some leadership courses, and that they go pretty deep into this, but like, let's say someone was molested as a child. Mm-hmm. Now they're 25 years old. Horrible thing that happened when they're a child. Yeah. But, are you going to let that situation dictate at some point, you have to take responsibility for where you're at, not that you did anything wrong when you were a kid,
right,
but where you're at, and that you're not going to let that affect you the rest of your life. And we have this victim mentality where it's like the oppression Olympics. It's like, who can be more oppressed?
Well, yeah, because we're so used to we're so used to just thinking, oh, because this happened to me, it's not fair. What enough people don't understand, we need to stop using the word equality in our vocabulary, because people think, oh, my situation isn't equal to them, so I'm just going to be a loser now. Yeah. No. I grew up more fortunate than a lot of kids. A lot of kids grew up more fortunate than me, somewhere in the middle. And you know what? You got to play the hand that you're dealt. Not everybody, life isn't a board game. I know life is a board game, but real life's not a board game. You don't all start at the same spot. Some people start here. Some people start, damn near like at the finish line. Yep. It is what it is. You just got to accept that. I think once people accept that, they'll start to
make your own path.
Start figuring things out.
Yeah, no, it is. I've thought about getting into politics and having that conversation of, look, and I do have sympathy and compassion and empathy for people that are going through tough times. I was raised without a lot of money. I understand that. I got in trouble when I was 20 years old, made a mistake, paid for it. And I could have used that as, oh, poor me, I got locked up. I have a felony on my record. I can't do anything. It's like, no. Or I can say that was the best thing that ever happened to me. It changed my life. I'm grateful for it. And I'm glad I went through the experience because it made me who I am today. But we don't teach society those type of things. We teach them to be victims. I look at like the Democrat Party right now, and I was more left on social issues I would have been considered left on a lot of social issues 10 years ago. And now I haven't really changed much, and the whole thing has changed.
Right.
But the Democrat Party now, to me, it's the party of victims. It's, they applaud when someone is oppressed. Oh, poor you. And that completely depowers them because they become a slave to whatever circumstance it was that caused them to be that way.
Yeah, if you list your mental issues and they flaunt that as a good thing, I mean, you're completely off the ball. And that's what a lot of them do. I mean, they take pride in being plus size. I'm fat too, but shit, I don't like, I want to keep losing weight. But
you're not saying it's healthy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, why would you brag about having borderline personality disorder? Like, why? Basically, it's like, look, I can be a pretentious prick because I'm this. It's like, you're right. It is a lot of that. And, Republicans are, 10 years behind it. They'll be the same way in 10 years, and Democrats will be even more crazy.
Yeah, I think that's where the fight, to me, is in society is getting people out of that mindset. Because if you can make people personally responsible, I mean, you empower them, they're going to do more. They're going to realize, hey, it's up to me to make something of myself, not anybody else. I can't put this on my mom or my dad or my teachers or this person I consider racist or this person I consider sexist or this person that doesn't respect my pronouns or whatever the hell it is.
Respect my authority.
And empower themselves. Like if society, and I do feel like we can make this change in our country because, when people hear it, they're like, oh yeah. But because you have such a loud megaphone going on over, the victim mentality, people think that's normal. That's not normal.
Yeah, we just need to remove the trampoline when people jump off the window. And, it's going to take a great reset. The way I look at it is, if you're a druggie, let him die. I'm sorry. Like, I think there's a fentanyl crisis because I don't think it's because of the cartels. I don't think it's because of the Chinese. I don't think it's because of whatever Jew money is being poured into it. It's because people are doing fentanyl. It's amazing how I've avoided there's a quote unquote fentanyl crisis, and I live in like a border state. It's completely avoided me because I just don't do fentanyl. We just live in a consequence-free society, and people just need to, they need to fall and splatter on the ground in order to get their stuff together. But they're just so used to, like, I have my video games, I have my porn, it doesn't even matter. If I just don't do anything, I'll have the bare minimum to survive anyway.
Yeah.
That needs to stop, and I think that's the biggest issue we have.
Yeah, I mean, well, fentanyl's in a lot of other things, though.
That's why raising my children a little different. You're going to learn. I'm going to let you know the mistakes that I most likely made, which is why I know a lot. But if I tell you some advice and you refuse to listen to it, I'm going to let you fail. And then I'm going to have you come back, tell me later that you were right. It happens all the time. What up, Sam?
Too. I think that's,
yeah, so far it's been pretty good.
Such an increase in death.
Right.
I know, 3 people in Nashville that have died doing cocaine that had fentanyl. So it wasn't like they were actually going out to.
Wait, this is in Nashville?
Do fentanyl. And I'm not saying they should be out doing cocaine either.
Right.
I'm just saying that there is those circumstances where it's not, that stuff's being put in a lot of different stuff.
Well, it's like having sex but I used a condom and I got pregnant. What the heck? If people continue in self-destructive behaviors, whether it's drug usage and whether it's playing video games all day, there needs to be a consequence for it.
Well, yeah. And, sometimes death can, and my thing is, I don't disagree in the sense that, people have to, they chose to do cocaine and that happens. There's bad things that happen. There are consequences to, specific actions. We can't coddle society though into, this, oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't work. I think there's a balance. So I'm a little more compassionate with the drug addict. I've worked with a lot of drug addicts.
Right.
And, a lot of them are good people and a lot of them are, in a way, a slave to their addiction.
Yeah.
At the same time, I share they got to take responsibility aspect
of course
of it. And, but there's a balance because society, at least in America, has moved so far over to this giant victim mentality that we've lost the ability to have kind of a middle ground because it's so far gone. You almost have to have the other extreme to say,
cage match.
y'all are all fucking crazy, and you want to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where we're at.
No, we definitely need some right-wing extremism for sure. I mean, like, I think it's starting to kind of move the other way. A way I can kind of gauge it, it's like I have a really simple method I use, just Instagram comments. Like, you go to like these cookie cutter pages, like where it's like TMZ or whatever, cheese.news or whatever. You can see a few years ago, there would just be like so many comments like, oh my God, he said that word, or oh my God, how could he say this? But now the comments, like anytime somebody's like acting like a little loser, just the comments are quote unquote ratioing them now. And so I'm starting to see a shift a little bit. It's not going as fast as I'd like it to, but it's surely not where it was 3 years ago. I think it's going slightly in a better direction.
I'm glad.
Now we can actually talk about we can give pushback publicly without having a mob attack us.
Exactly.
I mean, during COVID, I was one of the first to speak out against the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, March 2020, I was already like, hey, this is bullshit.
Beat me to it.
Yeah, I ran numbers on the there was a cruise ship that the whole cruise ship, got COVID, and I don't think there was one. I forget, this is 2020, but I don't think anybody died, or there was. It was all by age group that the severe accounts were happening, and health, body mass, those type of things. And I thought, wait a second, if you just run these numbers, this is a large enough group that you can pretty much predict what's going to happen or have a better idea than what they're saying. At first, they're like 4.2% chance of death, and then like 1%, and then it turns out to be like 0.029. But and but the mob then would just, I mean, I was anti-science. Well, I own a hospital. I have the largest stem cell company in the world. Like, I actually have a vaccine lab, and I'll explain it to you. It's for cancer vaccines. But I got called an anti-vaxxer, which is really wild, because I'm like, no, well, this vaccine is, it is experimental. It's not ready for prime time. I'd been working with mRNA in some facets since 2017, and what they did screwed up all the legit research with it for cancer vaccines, because they made this, they wrap the mRNA in a lipid nanoparticle, and they say, oh, it's ready for 5 billion people. Well, if you're stage 4 metastatic cancer and you're trying this new treatment and you're going to die from your cancer for sure, then there is a risk involved that we can say, well, there is a risk because we don't know, and blah, 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 blah. That's fair to me. But to mass market it to, billions and billions of people as a safe and effective drug or a vaccine that, one, stops the spread of COVID. Oh, you can't get COVID. And then they kept going. It was obvious. But, society, that was a start, truly, I think, of just the mass hysteria that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's definitely been different since COVID. My thing with the vaccine is, you said in March 2020 you were against all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I started being against it in May 2020. I was 2 months a little bit too late from you. Because, I was delivering pizza at the time. And I remember I called my mom on the phone hysterical. I'm like, they're not even giving me a mask to deliver pizza. And how could they do this to me? And then I was like,
oh, that's funny.
Then I ended up getting a mask. And I'm like, wait a second. I just didn't wear it. I'm like, I'll be fine. And it just like took 2 seconds later. I was like, wait a second. I'm going crazy here. What's going on? But I always thought that, the virus wasn't going to be the one that's going to be the mass death event. It's going to be this vaccine they come out with. 20-year-old Alex called that one. But, and with Pfizer, I don't know, the lipid nanoparticles, that's way above my thinking grade. I mean, that's why you're in this mansion. I'm in like a rental house right now. But with Pfizer, just common sense to me, they have the biggest criminal fine in history for lying about test results. And that was only 9 years before they came out with the vaccine. So the way I look at it is, these same people saying trust Pfizer now would also say, well, the sex offender only molested this kid 10 years ago. He's changed. Let him babysit your kids now. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, yeah. People change.
So for that reason, I declined the vaccine.
Yeah. No, me too. My mom and dad got it, and we discussed it as a family, and it was a hard decision for me because I knew there were risks, but my mom has some major health issues too, and it's like, okay, if she gets COVID, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, and so she did it, and it reactivated her rheumatoid arthritis, and we knew that going in. We talked to her rheumatologist about it going in, and said, hey, oh no, there's not a chance. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, there is a chance. We're going to make this decision based on, but I can't be mad. I can take responsibility. We made a very well-informed decision.
Right.
It didn't. What we thought was possible to happen bad actually happened.
Right.
And so I'm okay with that if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's being able to have those honest conversations and letting people make decisions based on knowledge, not being like, oh, you're anti-vaxxer, you're this or that. And I thought for the older age group, with all the data, I thought it did make sense in some cases. Most cases, actually, because most people over 65 aren't extremely healthy. If someone was a super healthy 65 plus, that would have been fine, actually.
Right.
But most people, are pretty sick by the time they're 65 these days.
Do you still think that people over 65 should have taken it?
I do. Yeah, I do. And gosh, but I'm not sure. I have to say that too. Like,
I still think it should have been personal choice.
I read the data. I mean, I know it pretty well. And getting some antigen response in the body seems to slow the brunt of COVID. I think there's risks with it though. Why I wouldn't, I would never take it. I would never want kids to take it. Or,
right.
My best friend died of COVID.
No, just like the flu, guys. Make sure you get your updated COVID vaccine, guys. You don't want to be one of those people that go and get grandma killed, Brought to you by Pfizer.
Years old, had he's really, really heavy guy, smoker as well. And I was worried. I said, Adam, I think you should probably get it, man. I don't really like it. I was very publicly against it in many ways.
Yeah.
But I was also reasonable,
Sure.
And it was a tough, and he didn't do it. And then he died. It was brutal. So I don't know. The honest answer is I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We've been lied to so much. I'm torn about it, honestly. I want to say I'm trying to do the right thing with those thoughts, but I think probably 65 and up, it saved a lot of lives. I think if I were in politics, like if I were the mayor of Nashville, the governor of Tennessee, when Trump did the shutdown for 2 weeks, I would have said, no way. Society, you make the choice. We're a free society. If you want to shut down your business, do it. It probably is safer for everybody if you do that, but we're not forcing you to do it. Absolutely no vaccine mandates. At the very least, actually, no, I would have done no vaccine mandates, but we would have talked very openly about natural immunity. If you already had COVID, you're good. 27 times more effective than the vaccine. Those are the conversations we would have been having rather than the polarizing, you're either anti-vax or vax or whatever, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I don't think there's like a single governor in the country that actually took that stance.
Nope.
DeSantis a little bit, my governor in Texas, he wasn't too, pushy with the vaccines, but yeah, there was really no governor that just came out and said natural immunity is like there was really none that just was like kind of what we're saying now, like at all. So
yeah,
they're all just kind of puppeteered a little bit. I think
they were. Well, and they don't have a science background or a healthcare background. And man, the healthcare system was it was hardcore, dude. I mean, even I had to be somewhat careful because of what I do. And I want to make sure that whatever I say is accurate. And so, and not making claims. So as it was going on, I would have conversations with my scientists that I work with. One of them is the former chief of infectious disease and immunogenetics for NIH. So these are big time scientists.
Yeah.
And we have reasonable debates. I don't necessarily disagree with his thought process either, if that makes sense. But we couldn't do that publicly. I wanted to hear those conversations publicly.
Yeah,
because what we were dealing with was public health. It wasn't science. It was public health. And public health, it's set up to lie to people to get them to do things.
Yeah.
And they just lied to us.
I mean, these people running stuff they're master manipulators and psychologists. I mean, that's really who runs the government. It's just psychologists, pretty much. Yeah, it definitely created a big divide. But I think COVID, on the other hand, also exposed that the government is not to be trusted at all. And if they do something good, celebrate the good, but still do not trust these people. But I think COVID definitely shifted my view of it's the elites' fault versus it's okay. We need to be the ones to say no to this. We can't just blame the Klaus Schwabs of the world. Right. And so I don't know. It definitely changed a lot of people's thought process for the good or bad, for the better or for worse.
Yeah, it showed me. You always wonder, like during, the 1940s, how the German soldiers like allowed people to go into the concentration camps and treated people like that. And it showed me how quickly society can turn on you, for having a different view. Some people would have crucified me. People now like, oh, it was, nobody really knew and you can't be upset. Like, no. You didn't get the messages that I got wishing me death, for, why they say, oh, you want everybody to die by pushing them away from the vaccine. Right. I'm like, I have a lot of nuance in my thought too. I mean, I'm clearly not an anti-vaxxer, but I think it was a bunch of bullshit. And they wanted me to die. If you didn't get a vaccine, they wanted you to die.
Yeah, they almost want you to die to just be correct.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie,
They
that
did,
happened on the anti-vax side too. Like
They'd be
there's
proud
definitely
of it.
people that, started basically doing a virtual teabag saying, oh yeah, told you it was the vaccine. And dude, it really just goes down to human nature. Humans are we're a very prideful species. Yeah. And even at the expense of human life, people are still like, I'd rather be right than see you alive. And that's a pretty crazy thought process to have.
Right.
Which I think, shit, maybe I'm a little bit guilty of it sometimes too. And I try not to be, but I'm not going to lie. I'm fallible. So
yeah, no, we all are, man. When I got COVID, I saw Rogan do a comedy skit or, his comedy show talking about it, but I felt the same way when he said that. I'm like, oh yeah, when I got COVID, I'm like, I better not die of this shit. the memes, the jokes will be for days if I die of COVID here. But COVID was serious for, people died. My best friend died. It was probably a bioweapon, it was made in a lab. That was the other thing, if you said, oh, it was made in the Wuhan lab, you were considered racist for a time.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's my thing with the vaccine too. The same people. Yeah, I'm sure it was made in the Wuhan lab, but I mean, our grimy government definitely had our hands in that crap too, for sure.
Of course.
Like it is just
still to this day, I believe
playbook.
There's no way they could have had that vaccine rushed that quick and be tested without already having a vaccine already, because they planned attack. There's just no way that they created a vaccine in 9 months when it takes 10 years, especially to get through testing and getting it just right. It's amazing how that technology changes. Not for shit like that.
Start the problem, they offer the solution, and it's just good cop, bad cop to me is what it is. Like when I tell the pedos, I like to tell them to get them to admit to stuff like child porn. They always admit to something incriminating, but not as severe as what it really is. It's like, hey, did you make that child porn yourself, or did somebody just send it to you? Either way, whatever they say, if they answer that question, they're incriminating themselves. They always say, oh, but somebody sent it to me. But it's the same way with politics. That's what I look at Trump and Biden as, or Trump and Harris as. It's good cop, bad cop. If you choose one of them, you're just choosing, you're choosing a snake to come around your neck. That's the way I look at it. So
yeah, I have hope for Trump. So I didn't support him in 2016.
Me neither.
I mean, what I see from Trump is he lies a lot. It's like a lot of lies. But I've gotten over that. Over the years, because I'm like, you know what? I just kind of know now what he's going to say. And I would consider his lies a lot are exaggerations.
Yes.
So there's a little difference to that to me. And I saw how the entire system, the deep state, attacked him in every way, between the Russia scandal and then, after he COVID. I think this is my conspiracy theory, but I think they put COVID out there to make sure Trump didn't get reelected.
Oh, I don't know about
Maybe.
that
What are the
part,
odds?
but
March of 2020, right before he was winning in all of the polls, he was going to win in a landslide, and they had this, novel virus out of a lab that was made in Wuhan that was funded by the NIH, that was funded by the people working directly with Fauci. You had Peter, was it Peter Daszak, and I forget the EcoHealth Alliance guy. So it's obvious to me that there was some type of conspiracy in there.
Mhm.
Now, did they really release it to get him out of office? I don't know about that, but we weren't told the truth. And what are the odds?
Well, I kind of think Trump is a figure that's kind of meant to make conservatives more complacent. Because look, when Biden's been in office, you're more outspoken than I think you were back then, right? Or at least it's more accepted to be outspoken. A lot more people are outspoken about just kind of a leftist New World Order lunacy when Biden's in office, right? Because it's just see it firsthand.
Yeah.
But the country still moved more left under Trump. He didn't really conserve anything. And when Trump gets in, I noticed a lot of people are like, you see it all the time. It's like, no. When Trump gets in, everything's going to be fixed. The swamp is going to be drained. And then people are just like, okay, my part's done. I'm just going to let Trump do it. And I think, he makes a lot of conservatives sitting ducks. And I think that's a big issue. I mean, just look at all these states. Like now tranny kids are banned in 25 different states now. And that was Biden in office. You know what I'm saying? I think there's more of a fire under our ass when someone like Biden's in office. And I think Trump makes people a little bit too docile. And that's what makes me worry about him.
Interesting. Yeah. My thought with Trump is I don't like his rhetoric. I think it divides people. I like a lot of his policy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the tax cuts that he did. I
for
was
sure.
actually against the trade war with China, but I've changed my position. I think he was
Yeah.
right now. It actually did good.
Mhm.
I don't really like trade wars, like free trade.
you don't have to like the
it
man,
was
but
it's
like
so
I said,
unfair to us.
I
because,
like his policy.
the more I thought about it, that concept of free trade
Still
only
didn't
works
vote
if it's
for him.
free all the way around, not if they're getting a way better deal than we're getting.
Right.
And so, I like that. I thought he did good with criminal justice reform. I like that he didn't get us into wars.
Yeah, that's good for sure.
So there's a lot of good, that he did. The Abraham Accords.
Oh yeah, we know that.
If it were any other president, he would have won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Definitely.
And so those are the kind of things that I look at. And
Trump was
when I
actually
look at,
nominated for
the
2
last
Nobel
month,
Peace Prizes, if I
I'm like
remember
ready to be
right.
like, Trump, what are you doing?
While he
Just
was
shut
president.
up. It's his race to lose. It's not. It wouldn't be. He just got shot in the head and yelled, "Fight, fight, fight," which was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And then, he starts talking about Kamala being an Indian and black, and it's like, dude, you're not going to gain. Your job right now is to gain votes. You have to get people to support you. The people that are already supporting you, you're not going to gain anybody new by saying that. The people that are already supporting you are already supporting you,
Right.
and you're just going to push people away by that.
Yeah, it's really an interesting it's an interesting campaign to watch. Like, I mean, I feel like Mr. Me with no experience in politics can run this campaign better than whoever's doing it can. I mean, it just seems. I mean, it is just shooting himself in the foot over and over again.
I don't think it's the people
That's on
running it.
both
I think
sides,
Trump is
though.
just uncontrollable.
Yeah,
I mean,
could
can you
be.
imagine? Like
It all depends on
Trump.
what
We're like, okay,
report
we want
you're
you to go
looking at.
out there. You're going to say this and don't answer this question, and he goes out there and does just the opposite.
Right.
I mean, it's
right.
got to be what he's doing because
Yeah,
his
it could
advisors
be.
aren't telling him to go do this shit.
Right. That makes sense.
You
That
know?
makes sense. Yeah, just it's going to be November's for sure going to be interesting, but I would bet good money that Trump's going to win though. I think he's going to get in.
Fingers crossed.
I think
fingers
September
crossed.
10th is going to be
I
interesting.
don't know if he can say we already have so much debt. You pointed out that he raised the debt equal to Obama.
Yeah,
You know,
more than him.
Yeah, I mean,
Per year.
the COVID thing was at the very end, and he did
Right.
have a plan the following 4 years to cut. That was like part of his deal where he was going to spend and cut. I don't know. We'll see this time if he wins.
Yeah,
if
we'll
he does
see.
that. But I'm so with you on that. I mean, all the Republicans that get into office, they just raise the debt just like the Democrats do.
Right.
And it's BS.
Yeah, there's truly no conservative party in the U.S. at all, and yeah, I mean, I like DeSantis in the primary, but man, he just seems like one of those people that would absolutely go to war for Israel, and that I don't think he's as America first or like how do I put it? Just very I don't think he's as anti-war as we'd like him to be. So
Didn't
to
he
me, that's
snap
like
a
a deal
bunch of
breaker
shit
too. If you're
to,
gonna like send troops to go die in a country 5,000 miles away, then yeah, unelectable to me.
It were the
Israel?
heels that got me. Him wearing the heels. I'm just like, I just don't know.
Well, he's just the most progressive Republican there is. He saw Trump holding the LGBT flag, so DeSantis is like, I'm going to wear heels and be even more gay.
Yeah, that's funny. You had a confrontation with Peter Hotez.
My best friend.
Yeah, how did that go about?
Oh, well, the day before we were both in a room and they were giving us our script to kind of go do. No, I'm just kidding, But yeah, so I had seen some clips of Peter Hotez, and I was told he lives in Houston. Me and my friend Marissa Hanson, she's a journalist in Houston. She's pretty camera shy, but she's on Twitter. She's awesome, very sweet lady, and she does an unreal amount of research. If you're on her bad side, I wouldn't want to be on her bad side. Like, she'd find shit on me I didn't even know about myself, I'm sure. But she kind of told me he lived in Houston, and I was like, really? Because I seen these clips of him just being like a fat little Fauci. And I saw that he lived 15 minutes from my house, and I'm like, no freaking way. So I hit up Marissa. I'm like, yeah, let's go confront him. And just totally by chance, when we're pulling up to his place, it's like a 2-story like condo type gated thing. Coincidentally, like, I have no idea why, he was just walking back home. Like, he was just out and about because there's no way we would have been able to knock on his door. And that's when we just like ran out of the car. Like, I was in my socks still. Like, I didn't even get my shoes on. I was like, screw it, we got to go now. And yeah, I mean, like, you could see the video. I was trying to gather myself because I wasn't expecting it to go that quick. But yeah, obviously he gave a bunch of non-answers, and I can get a pedo to admit to molesting a 1-year-old, but get Peter Hotez to agree to a debate, fuck, that's beyond me. So
yeah, now that guy it's wild, the stuff that he says.
He's insane.
He was on Rogan at first, and Rogan at the very beginning was very afraid of COVID.
Until he got
I
it.
always appreciate Joe is if he's open to changing his mind. And he did.
Definitely.
He changed his mind, and he imagine the world without Joe Rogan right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude, absolutely.
Gosh, he's kept a conversation going of freedom, and he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. That's what people don't realize. Like, he is not right.
No,
he's
not.
But he's open minded. I've known Joe for 25 years, and
Dang.
I don't. I love the way he thinks. I really do. It's he's very, very open minded and
reasonable dude.
Very reasonable dude. Very reasonable. But you saw Hotez on that show, and then you see him afterwards. And when Joe changed his course,
yeah,
and just seeing this weasel go out and vaccinate the kids and vaccinate everybody and mandate the vaccination.
Oh, that compilation of
and
Peter
dogs.
Hotez just saying, "Yeah, guys, we're gonna need one vaccine. No, now it's 2 vaccines.
Yeah.
Now it's
Not the
3
yearly
vaccines.
vaccine.
God, man, just what a he makes me very angry.
Yeah.
I hate that dude so much.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Giving him a wedgie in school.
Talk about you called out Dan Crenshaw too.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
How did that go?
God, finding all my old clips from a couple of years ago. Well, Dan Crenshaw is somebody who used his veteran status to just swoon a bunch of dumb middle-aged white women into voting for him without them kind of looking at his actual policies. There's a guy running against him. He runs against him every 2 years. It's like, it's like a ritual at this point. Jameson Ellis, he seems to be getting closer and closer each year, and he seems to be more legit than Crenshaw at least. But, Dan Crenshaw is part of the World Economic Forum. He was on the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders, and he's voted for a lot of, rhino stuff,
Globalist
like Ukraine
agenda.
funding and this and that. Like, he's not as conservative as he claims to be. He's not the conservative hero that a lot of people say he is. And for that, we called him out, and he just kind of smiled and didn't want to address any of it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You also called out Hillary?
Yep.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Well, I was doing a pedo cash when I called her out.
Wait, you're doing a what?
Oh, I was just confronting a pedo.
Oh, who's that, Bill?
No, Hillary
Oh,
Clinton.
Hillary. I haven't heard this one. So tell me about that.
Well, so it was a Sheila Jackson Lee event. You know who Sheila Jackson Lee is?
No.
She is like she'd be like the #1 Congress lady ever in Houston. Like, she's been representing like 3rd Ward, which is a pretty historically black neighborhood for like the past 30. She just passed away, but for like the past 30, 40 years, totally just a total, just just the same
Out
name,
there.
just voting for over and over again. Yeah, it's just one of those. And but I get all the text, like I got Tim Walz blowing up my phone with his like 30 number or whatever. I got all the notifications. But I saw that Hillary was speaking at this event 10 minutes from my house for Sheila Jackson Lee, and I'm like, oh no way, I don't go to this. So people always. I've never seen anybody call out Hillary about Bill Clinton's relation. I've seen one video of someone calling out Bill Clinton to his face, which was awesome. I think it was Taylor Hansen or somebody like that, but it was awesome. And I wanted to call it Hillary because I want to see what these people say. Like, it's so easy to say, oh, you funded this or whatever, but just call them a pedo to their face, see what happens. And so when Hillary's speaking, I'm like, why did Bill visit Epstein Island 26 times? And the whole crowd, without even listening to what I just said, they just started chanting Sheila Jackson Lee's name, even though she's not the one speaking. And, so I start getting dragged out. And oh my God. And you talk about blending into a rally like that. I've been thrown out of so many Texas Democrat rallies because, I'm 6'4". They know who I am at this point. So I wore a hat that said, I have autism. And I wore a mask. I wore a mask and I wore a gay pride shirt. And funny how that just blends in there, right? Oh, yeah. So, I was just acting like a total spaz beforehand. I was just sitting down like this, just looking like total sped. Like one of the event organizers came up, like patted me on the back, because I was having anxiety. And so then Hillary speaks and I start getting dragged out. They grab me by my shirt. And, what I like to do at the rallies is I always just like fall on the ground. I'm like, if you're going to drag my 300-pound ass out, you're going to drag me out, dude. I'm not going to resist, but I'm not going to give into it either. So they're ripping off my shirt, and then I stick up a thumbs up, and dude, every inch I was being dragged, I'm like, oh my God, 10,000 more views, 10,000 more views, viral video, and I'm like, and oh my God, it was so great, dude. They gave me exactly what I wanted, and except for answering the question, but it was so great, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be an adrenaline rush calling out Hillary like that. I mean, that's a super powerful person.
My heart was out of my freaking heart. But, and speaking of that, so afterwards, the Secret Service guy comes up to me, thickest Chinese accent you'll ever hear. I'm like, bro, talk about the Chinese being pretty far in our government. He's like, hello, I want to get some information from you. And I'm just like, nah, bro. And I just walk off and like, screw that dude.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Man, well, yeah, thanks for doing that. It takes big balls to
for sure.
Go after Hillary and Bill. But it's very, very good points, man. It's like, why was he on that plane 26 times? Or, why do you have a relationship?
Where is Bill?
Why does Epstein have a painting of Bill in a dress?
In the
in his
dress.
house?
I mean, it's insane how talk about Biden molesting his 5-year-old daughter, Bill Clinton being like, that should be a deal breaker to just not vote for any of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It should be. I mean, the whole Biden thing, I read the journal and, it's hard. I do hear you. It's hard for me to jump to a conclusion completely because I don't know the context.
Right.
Those are the type of things that I'm a little more cautious about. I totally get it, but it's also like, okay, I don't know. I don't know.
It makes sense.
But, Bill Clinton, I mean, those are some obvious ones. And, man, I do. I appreciate people like you. I mean, all that you're doing, dude. You're a good human. You're making a difference, and this is what we need. We need people to stand up, fight for what they believe is right. Use their voice. Admit when we're wrong. That's another one though. We get so stuck in our ways.
Yeah, people don't do that.
Acknowledge I screwed up here and move forward. That's what I miss about Trump. I wish Trump would just say, "I'm sorry," or "I shouldn't have done this," and move forward rather than just covering it all, like never admitting you're wrong.
The bar is so low for me to vote for him.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Actually, I love RFK too. And actually, Bobby the Third and Kyle, who's Justin Trudeau's brother, they stayed over here about 4 weeks ago during the Bitcoin conference.
No way.
And interesting stories with Kyle. But, I love, I love how they've been RFK's been pushing this health message.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think that him dropping out and, supporting Trump, I mean, can you imagine RFK as the head of the FDA or Health and Human Services? That would be awesome.
That definitely that's pretty hope. That definitely gives me a lot of hope, for sure. I mean, I still don't have high expectations for anybody, but like, Definitely better than the Admiral himself running it, Dick Levine. So
yeah, that's a wild one too.
Fucking faggot.
Yeah, this is the picture of health that we want running our country.
Right.
Come on. But thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. I would love to maybe do a bus with you sometime.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be a lot of fun.
We actually got
Bro, that was actually a good interview. Always good to see talk about other stuff and more awareness. And I feel like with that interview, he probably just got a bunch of financial backing. Free gym. He's probably going to get a vehicle now. And, well, he's sponsoring them. That's huge. How many other predator catchers are sponsored? And they're going to help him set up a nonprofit charity. I guess they're going to do it the right way. Okay, that's a plus. It's a plus. But they brought up the same things with illegals. Illegals are coming in, they're breaking the laws, and as we see, they get nothing. Suspended sentence, 6 months. And then you see, it's not just illegals getting away with it, it's everybody. It's people do care, but it seems like there's a lot more that don't care and just want to glaze past it like it didn't happen. It's easy to accept the easy lie instead of the hard truth. But it ain't. When it comes to the truth, who knows what the truth is? But, you get it? You see all sides. Just kidding. I forgot what I was talking about. Dead space, dead air. I don't do that dead air shit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I hope you enjoyed this show, and if you have not hit the like, don't worry about it. I shall see you next time, and I'm not telling you how to think because, well, that's just fucking stupid. Because then you would be the sheep that we were talking about. Just telling you to think. I think, thanks for coming.